Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome in. Checking them volumes. Might have double volumes. Let me mute this guy. All right, looks like everyone can hear me. Welcome in. How's it going, Silent Warlock? Thanks again. Spamming those good emotes. That's right, that's right. My name is Makazi007, aka Matt, here with Nerd Crew. I know I'm interrupting your special broadcast of Nerd Crew's Punishment Month, but the Game Award nominees were announced today, and per tradition, we're going to vote on them. I'm going to need your help, chat, to get these votes out. I'm going to have my own personal votes over here in the corner. You can't see it, but it's in my on my second monitor, and then we're going to have the ones you could see here on screen, which are going to be the votes we're going to cast together. So I'm going to poll the chat. Obviously there's enough people in chat. We'll do some 30-second polls, 1 minute polls, whatever, and whatever chat decides, that's who we're voting for. Obviously, I'll have my own personal picks, but we will also have the general picks from Nerd Crew. Welcome in. I think I just heard the Discord go off for Warlock coming into Discord. How's it going, buddy?
That'd be a yippee for me. Hello.
Everyone should be able to hear you. Yes. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I didn't
Yes,
mute the wrong audio.
good
But
to
yeah,
hear.
so have you heard anything about the nominees? I will say I am spoiled on some of the Game of the Year nominees because it's like
I
impossible to
am
get
I
into
am
this
mostly
site without
going
seeing it.
all I'm mostly going all blind here, but I did see a Instagram reel or a TikTok about the game of the year specifically, but we'll
Mm.
hold off on that one specifically until later.
Yeah, basically same thing. I saw like I went on Blue Sky earlier, and people were just like flaunting that category specifically. So I had to like quickly scroll, and then also just getting to this page, I accidentally clicked start voting, and it just brings you right to the fucking Game of the Year category. So you have to click on
Yes,
view all
you.
categories in order to not
Yeah.
get spoiled. So I'm gonna click on that now, and it should bring you to this page. And then we're gonna
Yep.
scroll down to best esports team, which is the first one we're gonna vote on.
Oh
Uh,
gosh, that's a hard one,
and
honestly.
honestly, like if we don't know the games, like my personal rule is if I haven't played the game or know of anything, I'll just skip it. But for the Nerd Crew vote, we're gonna have to vote on something. So we're gonna vote on as a team. And good, good. Ricky Roo
I
has no
am
spoilers. That's good. And
I
hopefully everyone else
am
in chat
bad
as
at
well.
esports specifically because that's just gonna be like I don't usually watch esports specifically. All I know from the list of things so far is one of them because they're
Mhm.
kind of well known.
Well, let's just quickly run through the categories, and this will give people an opportunity to get through the ads as well as if anyone's watching this over on YouTube, because I will upload this to YouTube later, mostly because I want to, when the Game Awards come out, be able to rewatch it and be like, oh yeah, this is who we voted for and stuff.
Right.
Um, so I will be putting this up on our YouTube. You can get Estimation Point Socials to catch us over there. Hit that follow button, and then come on over to Twitch, and then you can vote live with us. But we've got
Right.
best esports team, best esports athlete, best esports game. I mean, we can vote on some of those things if we know them. If we don't, oh well. Content creator
Yeah.
of the year, most anticipated game, best
So far.
adaptation, best multiplayer, best sports and racing, best sim and strategy, best family, best fighting, best RPG, best action adventure, best action game. I don't understand why they separated those, but whatever.
I think it's because there's a difference between action and adventure, but we can discuss that a little bit later.
Yeah, best VR AR, best mobile
Mm-hmm.
game, best debut
Oof.
indie, best independent game, best community support, best ongoing, games for impact, innovation, accessibility, best performance, best audio design, best score and music, best art direction, best narrative, best game direction, and then of course, game of the year. Now, every
That's gonna be a
year
fun one.
we try here on Nerd Crew to stream us voting on the Game Awards as well as on the Crunchyroll Awards for the record. So when that comes
Oh,
out,
that's a fun one.
we will be voting on those
I'm not
as
sure when that
well.
comes out yet.
I think they do theirs later, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
they
they
probably
because
won't come out with the nominees for a couple weeks from now.
it will probably won't be until like it won't be until like March. It probably usually until like March is when they start doing the awards. So we'll probably will get them like after like February.
Yeah, I think they'll announce their nominees usually in like January, February. So we still got time
Because
for that.
20 because honestly when it comes to the anime awards specifically, they always do it like the year later, like a couple months after 2024 because 2024's animes usually fall like winter anime specifically just fall into 2025.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that might be a reason why. Anyway, enough chit chat.
Okay, so
Let's
let's
start with
let's dive
esports.
into it. We're gonna hit a best esports team, and we have Billy Gaming for League of Legends,
Yeah,
Gen.G for League of Legends, Navi for Counter Strike, T1 for League of Legends, and Team Liquid for Dota 2. Now, usually
I
every year
think
there's at least one team I've heard of before. I have never heard of any of these teams.
Team Liquid is actually one of the ones you probably would know about because Team Liquid would be actually they used to do League of Legends. Um, they used to do League of Legends, but now they move over to Dota 2. Same
Mm,
thing technically, but eh.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the people in these pictures too, and honestly, none of them look
All of them
familiar.
are Korean.
Not all
All
of
of them
them.
are like
There's two teams that aren't Navi and Team
two
Liquid.
out of two out of three, 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5 are not Korean, yeah. But yeah, no,
Well, not
honestly,
Korean, but Asian descent. Um,
I think.
Uh, I know T1 specifically did League of Legends. I saw a couple clips
Mhm,
on them. I'm usually they actually did some really so League of Legends specifically is one of those weird ones where you have to really like learn like metas and plays and stuff like that. I think T1's particular gameplay style is actually pretty solid
mhm.
in terms of like actually like getting like the victories mostly. But I think I just go with T1
Hold on 1 second.
because let's see my message, try to see if anyone can see them as to attempt to remember three to where you guys are echoing, which is what I'm telling you. Ew. Hmm.
I'm not really hearing any echo on my end. Yeah, I'm not really hearing much echo, honestly.
I that might change because I did switch my audios a little bit, so it should be fine. Um anyway, T1 is probably my pick, but I'm not really familiar with the esports scene at the current moment.
Mhm.
So
All
I
right, the
would go with
way
T1.
the way we're gonna do voting for the chat is I'm gonna poll
Yeah.
the chat, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the category as for the question. I'm just gonna put esports team,
Yeah.
and then the responses instead of putting like each name, I'm just gonna put numbers. I
One,
think
two, three,
that'll.
four, five.
Yeah, I think
One, two,
that'll
three, four,
be
five. Yeah,
easiest.
that'd be easier. Yeah, and it just go from left to right.
Yeah, or I don't know. Maybe it'll be because it'll be different for them. You know what? I will put their names. So I'll put Billy.
Just they're like just like BG,
Yeah,
GG, and
Gen.
T1, TL. That way you know how to type every single bloody one of them.
It'll
Because
get
I don't.
easier when we get into like other
Yeah, I
categories,
guess.
but for the
Yeah, I guess
names,
when it
I'm
gets
gonna put them in.
easier.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in. I'm gonna put in for a minute is the lowest you can go. I thought there was 30-second polls. Oh well.
No, it's usually a minute, but by that time we'll probably be done with each conversation, so we can
Yeah.
just
So
skip it.
we'll go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock for a best esports team. Go ahead and toss some votes in there if you're in the chat. Uh, I'm trying to think, man. I do now that I'm looking closer at them. Team Liquid, that like the two guys on the left here do kind of look familiar. Like I think they've been here
So yeah,
before.
they have been here before. So Team Liquid is one of the very popular teams in the esports realm because like spread out with multiple MMO RPG. Well, not
Yeah,
really, but most games, most multiplayer games. Um, you actually would probably know Team Liquid from their League of Legends days. Their
probably.
symbols usually they use the symbol actually is a like a horse or a Pegasus, or really whichever one you want to pick
Hmm.
for. But that's basically who they are. They have broadened their horizon a little bit, not to just do League of Legends, but they do League of Legends, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft. Well, not really World of Warcraft, but Dota 2 is one of them, stuff like that. So there's
Hmm.
a lot of the esports nowadays are going above beyond the realm of Dota style gameplay. But a lot of the ones that you see at the moment, which is kind of like which is more in that realm of that League of Legends Dota 2 style gameplay.
Hmm. Okay, well, it looks
A
like
lot
the poll is over and Team Liquid's going to take it with 2 votes. Because honestly, most
yeah.
of our chat doesn't really know esports either. I will say the only other people that kind of might be familiar to me is I think it's hard to tell, but I think Genji might be the people who were. Maybe it's T1. One of these two League of Legends, when they recently did their new Linkin Park video, I think one of these two teams is in there.
I think it might be T1
I think it
there
is T1. It's hard to
because
tell because it was drawn, and so I'm like looking at them because they drew their faces on the characters, and I'm trying to figure out which one. It
yeah,
does look more like these
T1 is
guys.
probably one of the bigger ones you probably have noticed because they are kind of like the higher end gamers.
Hmm.
Um,
If I
so
hit next
that
category, is it gonna drop me into the fucking game of the year, or is it
it'll
gonna?
count. It'll put you to the end of it. So this is the end technically. So you just gotta click out and then just go to the previous category because the
Okay,
last one technically is the best esports team. So you gotta go previous instead of
that's what I thought, and I
next.
wanted to make sure that that was correct. So
Yeah, I did
previous.
on my end, so I checked.
Okay, good. Thank you for checking. And then for my personal vote, I'm just gonna give Team Liquid another vote. Why the fuck not?
Mm.
And
These are all just predictions, right? I guess.
kind of. I mean, we're voting. These are no, because I mean,
Oh
there's
no,
a
these are nomin.
these are
Oh, there's
nominees that we
actual.
can vote for. Yeah.
Oh,
So now we're
okay.
going to best esports athlete, and we got.
The only one I see that's like big one that sticks out to me on my mind is Faker.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So we got 33, Alex Sib, Chovy, Faker, Ziwu, and Zim JJKK. Why? Why is that your name? But I can tell you that last year we voted for Faker. I'm 99% sure. So that's who was gonna get my personal vote again. But
My personal vote's on Faker to be
this
fair
time we
because
are gonna
I
start
know
with
his.
33 as number one, Alex Sib is two, Chovy's three, Faker's four, Ziwu's five, and ZM is gonna be six for the poll. So I'm gonna get that
Yeah,
running while we're talking.
honestly though, like I've seen some of Faker's gameplay. It's actually pretty like I know Faker does a lot of what is it? I think he does mostly League of Legends, but I know he does Overwatch at points as well.
So I didn't realize that polls can only go up to five and there's six options. That might be a little bit of an issue.
That's fine.
All
I just want to do gameplay highlights.
right, I'm gonna put one through five, and then if you want ZMJJK, just write six in the chat. That's how we'll do it.
Yeah, just do 6. But yeah, let's see. I'm just looking up 2024.
Hmm.
The only thing I would want to see in these kinds of in these nomination things
Hmm.
is like a highlight reel of like all these gamers and games that we're going to see in the game.
They might do that in like video formatting, like on YouTube. I don't think they do, but they might do that. But yeah, for this, it's just pure like here's the categories, here's the people pick from them. It would be
Yeah.
nice. I know Crunchyroll does that with their anime awards. Sometimes they'll put like little video blurbs being like, these are the
Yeah, that's what I'm
nominees, and then
saying.
it'll be a small video clip of like each like for voice actors and stuff like that, them talking in character and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, you're right. It would be nice if they did that, but I, I hate to say it, but I even think in the Game Awards that these categories are kind of just a throwaway for the Game Awards. I think they put it in there out of just respect for there being esports, but I don't think they actually care personally. And I could be wrong
Personally,
about that. Jeff Keighley could, come at me and say no, you're wrong, but that's what I personally think.
I think because of the esports realm, they already have something similar already to these nominee awards.
Hmm.
They already do that already when they play the game.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's always an MVP when it comes to the games. It's for so it's Faker.
yeah,
There is always an MVP when it always comes to these particular games. So they already have something already as a recognition for their play. So it's having this is kind of like fluff to
yeah. This is
me.
kind of like a whatever award for these guys too. They don't really give a shit.
Right. It just fluff to me. So
All right,
I
we're gonna
can't
move
really
on
say.
to the. We're just gonna move on to the next category. Something best esports game. Now, here's something I feel like we have a better chance of voting on because these are games that we might have actually played or at least like to watch. So the
Yes.
categories are, or not the category, but the games are Counter Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang. I don't know what the fuck that is, and Valorant.
I don't know that one. I think that's a new one.
That is definitely. I've never heard of this game before. It looks like even the way it's drawn is drawn just like League of Legends.
Yeah, this one is
I'm gonna Google it real quick because I
yeah, I'm
really don't
I'm
know.
googling a little bit just to
League
see what it is, or how
of
the
Legends.
gameplay is.
This sounds like a League of Legends spin-off game.
Looks like it. Yeah.
It is.
To
It's
be
just a
fair,
mobile. It's a mobile MOBA. That's what it is.
yeah, it's basically a mobile all these are technically MOBAs. The only one I
No,
would
not Counter
probably
Strike 2 or Valorant. Those aren't MOBAs.
Valorant is technically MOBA.
No, that's a
It
hero
is
shooter.
technically, huh?
That's a hero. Hold on. Is Valorant?
Valorant Valorant technically is MOBA.
No, Valorant is
All these
not
are
a MOBA. It's a first-person game. I'm reading this straight off of Google. A real-time strategy game. Protect their base, destroy their enemy structures is what a MOBA is. Valorant is a first-person shooter game where two teams of five compete each other. Considered a hero shooter. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a hero shooter.
it's basically Overwatch,
Yeah,
but
it's
better.
basically yeah. Surprisingly, Overwatch is not on this list this year. Normally, that gets on the list every
Because
year.
the reason why I think or Overwatch 2 is not on this list is because of how badly Overwatch 2 kind of tanked.
Yeah, because people hate it. I
In
know.
terms of its not in terms not, just in terms of its promises, and the promises it did not keep.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
there
I
was a
will say Counter Strike
lot
2
of
gets a lot of flack too. A lot of people weren't a fan of that game either.
yeah. I get why Counter-Strike 2 specifically. I my vote specifically would actually be on either Valorant or Dota 2.
Ricky Rue's asking, didn't Dota win last year? Honestly, I think
I
you're right. I
believe
think they did win
so.
last year.
I
Let's get a
believe so.
let's get the poll up real quick. Let's see. It's at five categories again. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's a
So,
5 categories.
esports game,
I really want to see like gameplay that's like of
CS2,
these games.
Dota 2, League of Legends. I'm just gonna put Bang Bang, which by the way is just League of Legends, but a mobile version of it, which I think is hysterical that that's up against its parent company pretty much.
Yeah, so like Dota 2, League of Legends, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang is basically MOBA in a sense.
Mhm.
Valorant and Counter-Strike are kind of its polar opposites.
Yeah,
Um,
I never played Dota. I
I'm
never played League of Legends. I haven't played Valorant. I played Counter Strike One, just like a couple matches, just to see what it was all about.
so
But that's about it.
so so Counter-Strike 2 is basically Call of Duty if it was solely like PvP.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I think of it. So when it comes to Counter-Strike 2 specifically, it's basically what you would think of like Call of Duty when we used to play Call of Duty when we were kids.
Hmm.
I'm saying that I'm old. Um, Basically you just play in a group of 5 or something like that, and you basically do a specific objective. Valorant and Counter-Strike 2 are basically the same thing. Although Valorant had a little bit of a difference, but each character has an ability that they can
Yeah,
use
yeah. Because
utilize.
it's a hero shooter. It's different. I mean, Counter Strike's more the hardcore Call of Duty crowd. Valorant is definitely more of uh the hero
So
shooter 5v5 working together.
the nerd crew vote is League. I'm
League of
going Valorant.
Legends. All right,
I'm
League is
going
gonna get
Valorant.
it. I think for my personal vote, I'm looking at these games and being like, which of these games do I think I would at least have a little bit of fun in? And
I
I
feel
think it
like
would
for
probably
you
be Valorant.
specifically,
I'm gonna
I
vote
feel like
Valorant.
for you specifically it would be Valorant. I personally have been going away from the mobile genres for a while,
Hmm.
just because that there is so much, I guess, meta when it comes to the it's so much meta when it comes to like builds and stuff like that. It confuses me sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Anyway,
like I like the hero shooter genre because it takes the issues of trying to min max a build out of the equation,
right.
and I do like that. That's why I personally I voted for Valorant as well. Next up is going to be Content Creator of the Year, and we've got KCO, Ilo Juan, Techno Gamers, Typical Gamer, and Usada Pecora. Now I'm going to be honest with you,
AKA Iron Mouse.
that's not Iron Mouse.
I thought it was.
Usada
Oh no, Iron
Pecora?
Mouse is different. Iron Mouse is
Yeah.
different.
Iron
Iron
Mouse
Mouse is
was
different.
the one who won last year, I think, right?
Yeah, Iron Mouse won last year.
Usada Pecora is a rabbit, and I've never heard of her.
Right.
Out of all these people, I've only ever heard of KCO.
VTuber.
And
I heard
honestly,
only of Usada, to be fair, because VTubers. I'm in the VTuber sphere.
yeah, I've heard of
Um,
KCO. Honestly, I love the clips. I love his clips. I think he's fucking hysterical. I really do. I think a lot of people give him a lot of shit, but I know part of it is in good fun and part of it is definitely not in good fun. But I love his clips.
I feel like you. I feel like you kind of are that kind of guy who likes the What's the one looking for? Like reactive humor.
I don't really love reactive humor that much.
Well,
I do like
I'm not sure
some
what
of it,
his.
but
I'm not sure what his like kind of main content's about. To be fair,
he games, but he definitely like
he's a motive, I guess.
he is someone who what's the word I'm looking for? He basically gets roasted by his chat a lot. That's what he is.
Gotcha. So
All
like
right.
most creators at this point.
But on another level.
Yeah, I figure.
All right, I'm gonna put up the poll. Go ahead and start your voting. I wish they had put Iron Mouse back in here. I'm surprised she didn't get in again because she's only
I
gotten
think
bigger since last year.
I think she is now like uh, I think there's a lot of stuff in the between this in the I like in the VTubers. I think she either might have been no, she's still streaming.
Yeah, no, she's still
Um,
relevant, like 100%. She's only gotten bigger since last year. That's why I'm surprised she's not here. Like, I would expect content creator of the year to be people who I definitely feel like would be someone that crosses genres and you've heard of them. And the fact that I've only ever heard of one of these people through TikTok content, basically, clips from his
yeah, I've
channel,
only
is a little weird to me. Normally, I would be like, oh, I've heard of two or three of these people, but like,
I've
this guy
only
looks
heard
familiar,
of
though, I will say. This Techno
yeah, I
Gamers.
don't like honestly I don't honestly know any of these content creators to be fair. Um,
I'll send you clips for
I have
KCO.
a yeah, yeah, send me clips later,
Next
but
time
it's
they
one
pop
of
on
those like
my Instagram feed. Oh, looks like chat
mhm.
has picked Usada Pecora.
I also pick Silent Coral because
Interesting,
it's
interesting. Okay, I voted for KCO, but we'll do Nerd Crew
you
chat
do.
picks the VTuber again this year because last year we picked her too.
I think we did also pick Iron Mouse as well.
Wasn't last year? Weren't there two VTubers last year, or was it
I
just Iron
believe
Mouse?
so. But let me look it up.
I feel like there was two last year, but and that's the same thing. Like last year, I voted for Iron Mouse because like out of all of the content creators, was like I've seen so much of her stuff, and I've actually sat and
Right.
watched some of her streams, and I still do. I follow her on Twitch and watch some of her streams. I'm gonna have to find this rabbit girl and see what her streams are all about.
Let me
See what the
see.
hype
Play
is.
strategy, best presentation, player points per game, esports and characters. Character. So it was people make games, Quackity,
Quackity, that's right.
Bean, and then Cypher PK.
Okay,
But Iron Mouse won that one. But I think
yeah,
the only one that was there was Iron Mouse was the only VTuber one.
yeah. Okay, I thought there might have been a second, but no, you're right. It was just Iron Mouse.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to
So
go to the next category of most anticipated game. I don't know why this is even
and
a fucking category, dude. Honestly, this is the
and
dumbest category
this
ever.
I think it's more for the hype
It is for the hype,
for
but
these
it's
games.
like, how do you give someone an award for not releasing something? It's basically like
I think it's
they might as well just call it award for best marketing because that's basically what
right.
it is.
I am me personally are the five games that are here. I
Well, hold
am
on, let
actually
me read them out first for you.
yeah, go
Jump the
for
gun
it.
there, buddy. So the I'm putting it in the poll list here. So for most anticipated game of well, I want to say next year, but there's no guarantee these will come out
There's
next
no
year.
guarantee of it. I think we only know of one in this list, maybe two.
There's definitely three of these that have release dates for next year. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Let me just finish the thing. So what we've got is we've got Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, which I'm pretty sure does have a release date, by the way. We've
I
got
think
Ghost
so.
of Yote, which I think they also said was coming next year. I think they said it's coming next year in the winter though, so I think it has a release date like window of like the beginning of next year.
I think it might be. I guessing it might be the. I guessing it might be the window of next year.
I'm pretty sure they said early next year, like first quarter or something like that. I can't remember. I just remember I
Right.
was super hyped about the game when it announced. Then we got Grand Theft Auto 6, which everyone is saying it's
Yeah.
coming out in the fall of next year unless it gets delayed again, including
Yeah.
Rockstar. Rockstar is saying it's coming out in the fall next year. Every other game release is trying to avoid September to November because they're like GTA 6 is coming out during this window and none of us want
Mhm.
any of that heat. So I'm gonna start the poll
Mm.
as we're getting
I
spammed
find
for
that
Monster Hunter.
find that
And then we got
laughable.
Metro Prime 4, which nobody fucking knows when that game's coming out. It's been on this list of most anticipated game for like fucking 3 years in a row. And then
Metro
Monster Hunter
Prime 4.
Wilds, which I will say is hype as shit. So go ahead
I
and put
think
your votes in the poll.
I'm excited for two games in this one. Monster Hunter Wilds and Ghost of Yotoi. But I
Hmm.
didn't actually play Ghost of Tsushima, so I might have to play that at some
You haven't
point.
played Ghost of
But
Tsushima?
no. And there's a
That
reason
is
why.
surprising, honestly, because you've
There's a
had
reason.
PlayStation for a while.
I know. The reason well, is Ghost of Tsushima PS4?
Ghost of Tsushima's PS4 and PS5, yeah. They
I
got
might
like
just wait for
a
the
big one.
PS5 to be fair. I just wait for the PS5 to be
Sorry,
fair.
I can hear Eric in the other room being like, "Who the fuck is voting for this other game?"
Which one?
The poll
Which one are you
ended,
talking?
and it's Monster Hunter
Oh,
Wilds.
yeah.
I was
And I mean,
hardcore voting for Ghost Yote, that's why.
I oh, I actually don't. I actually would like to play Ghost of Yotei. Yote. Monster Hunter Wilds is I will play with friends, so I'm just gonna actually go with Ghost of Yotei.
The reason why I'm more hyped for Ghost Yote, which doesn't make any sense, of course, but the reason I'm more hyped for it is because I did play Ghost of Tsushima, but also
Mm-hmm.
because, um, like, we don't currently have a way of all of us playing Monster Hunter Wilds because we only have one system that's going to be able to handle it, I think.
Which
So,
is PC.
which is my PC, and if it's coming out on Xbox Series, and my Xbox Series as well. But
Hey,
what?
I was wondering who the fuck was voting for Ghost as I was
Who
constantly.
else would be voting for Ghost? Who else would be voting for it? It's okay. My
I
personal vote
actually
will
voted
still
for
go to
Ghost.
Ghost, but
I personally voted for Ghost because I'm actually very excited for that one.
my 600 points went to Ghost, but
You said 600 points on Ghost.
but
Okay.
listen, I want people to welcome in Galaxy Prime. You've missed a couple
Hi,
categories, but
Galaxy.
you're here just in time to start voting on some categories. We just put our vote in for most anticipated game being Monster Hunter Wilds for next year. We are currently voting in. Thank you very much. We are currently voting in the Game Awards for 2024. Um, you kind of just missed the esports categories and now anticipated game, which are all, in my opinion, throwaway categories anyway. So,
It's
but
filler.
all of these
Honestly, it's
games are hype
filler.
as fuck, except for Death Stranding. I never
I
played it, so it's not hype for me.
I'm
But
not a big fan of the Grand Theft Auto series, to be fair. I'm
I
not one of those. I really don't. I really don't enjoy those games.
it's a cool series though. I will say it definitely deserves the hype.
I can I see the appeal, but I'm not one of those people who will just roam around and steal
Hmm.
cars. I'm not that.
You should try
Like
it.
the only thing I've tried as close is like I don't know Halo when you can steal a ghost.
Yeah, I will say it's not just all about that. Like honestly, if you do the missions and the stories, they are actually pretty good. Even
Yeah,
though
I
I personally
understand
haven't finished
that.
a single GTA story ever. I finished
Yeah,
Saints
that's
Row 1,
fair.
but I never
Uh-huh.
finished any of the GTA series. But yeah, my personal vote's
Fair.
gonna go for Ghost Yote. But I can tell you right now, when Sucker Punch got flashed on the screen during that PlayStation Presents, I
Yeah,
was
that was
hype as
actually
fuck.
really surprising.
And then I kept seeing the trailer and I was like, oh, they're making a Ghost 2, or is this just more DLC? I'm here for it either way. And then when the new character spawned, I was like, that's not Jin. Who the fuck is
Mm.
that? And then they said Ghost Yote. I'm like, I'm sold. I need to get a PS5 now. Fuck me. Now I gotta go buy a damn PS5 before this game comes
Yeah,
out.
I actually might get. I'm actually might just. Debating whether to get an upgrade PC or a PS5, but I might just get the older version of the PS5.
Well,
I know, just
that's the
slightly
problem is
used.
even getting an old PS5 is still expensive. Like
I know.
it,
I
and
know.
again, it depends. Do you want digital or physical? Obviously, your boy wants a physical edition, and you could just say,
I
Matt, just
don't.
buy a digital and get the
I
disc drive later. But that's so expensive because the disc drives are expensive.
I might get the disc. I might get the disc version because actually that is actually less expensive than is it less expensive than digital?
No,
I don't remember.
digital's less expensive technically, but I mean, if you go to the used market, you might be able to find one for cheaper than the digital.
Yeah.
But the cheapest PS5 that doesn't look like a scam that I found has been $300.
Right.
And now that the Pro is out, you could just get a Pro, I guess, if you want to spend $700 on a system that'll be
I'd
probably
rather.
useful for the next like 8 to
So
9
a
years.
so a PlayStation 5 that's like a base model is like 500 roughly.
Yeah, if you get it from Sony, I think.
Yeah, if you get it from Sony, but if you get like from like GameStop, it's like 249, 220, 429 for it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then yeah, yeah, that's because also they made the original PS5 and then they just stopped making those and then made the newer
Mm,
one. So now you can't even
right.
find the older ones anymore in stores. Now it's just the Slim or the Pro is all you're getting now. So that's another problem.
We even you put the PS5 on the wedding
I
registry.
didn't. Erica put it on the wedding registry and no one
There's
bought it.
nothing
So
wrong with it.
there's nothing wrong with
What
it.
was
I'm
it?
just when she put it on there, I was like, no one's gonna buy that shit, and she was just like, you don't know that, and no one has bought it. So unless we get one
No.
at the wedding, no one's bought it, and no one's going to buy it. That shit's expensive. And I guarantee
It
you,
is
everyone who saw
expensive.
that on our thing was just like, Matt put this fucking game system on here. I'm like, no, she put it on there. I didn't even put the damn system on there. But we are gonna roll into the next category. We got best adaptation. We've got
This is
Arcane,
tough.
Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon. I did not know that got a live action, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the poll in there while we
On
discuss.
honestly, I don't think Fallout did as great as the hype has portrayed it.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the new
I've
Arcane.
heard
I wish I saw it before this category, honestly.
uh if it's the same as the first Arcane, I it's still ongoing, which is the thing. So
Yeah, it is.
I think it's just Arcane as a whole, and
Now
I
it's got to
for
be whatever comes out
one,
in this year. So
right. I'm honestly, I don't think that the Fallout series, like the Fallout, like the Amazon Fallout series, really did the Fallout like genre, like the Fallout game justice. To be fair,
really, I haven't
it
played
might
the
be
games that much.
controversial.
I haven't played the
It
games
might be
that much, but at
controversial.
least it was
It might be
good.
controversial. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the best adaptation of a video game
Hmm.
that I've seen.
Out of this list,
And
what would you say then? Because Arcane's not
I
a good
am actually,
adaptation of fucking League of
I'm
Legends.
I'm no, it's so with Arcane, it only focuses lens on one specific site.
Hmm.
There's a lot more in the universe of League of Legends, but they only focused it on one. At least I think in this case, I think it's like one, two, three, like 4 to 5 characters within this universe,
Hmm.
within the same setting. Fallout is trying to do so much with so little, I think.
Well, it looks
Because
like
they're trying to squeeze in amounts with like what, 10 episodes?
I think it was, yeah, that sounds about
10.
right. 10 maybe.
But they're trying to combine like 3 storylines into like this one major arc,
Yeah, I think it
which
worked though. The way they
it
interweaved it. I
worked.
mean, a lot of movies and shows do that where they take like 3 or 4 different storylines and
Game
merge
of
them.
Thrones is a big one,
Yeah,
but
Game of Thrones.
that's
Anything
beside the point.
anything Quentin Tarantino's done basically does that. It's a way of doing movies and stuff. And I think it worked really well, especially because like people who've played Fallout will tell you, like, and again I haven't, but they've told me this a billion times. There's so many factions in the world. Like, yeah, you
Right.
could just
They
focus on one faction if you wanted to, and it probably would have been an okay show. But they really wanted to show the grand scale of this world and how things affect each other. So that's why they had to show at least a couple different factions and everything like that. So it looks like the poll
right.
ended,
I'm
and Fallout's gonna win it for Nerd Crew at least. But what are you gonna vote
I'm
for
going
your
for
personally?
I'm going for Arcane, to be fair. Knuckles is fine. If we're going the rest of the list, Knuckles is fine. Knuckles is fine as a thing. Yakuza Like a Dragon I have actually watched, and Lara Croft is Lara Croft.
I
So
didn't even know there was a Like a
um,
Dragon
I actually didn't know
series.
that. I didn't know the last two. To be fair, the Tomb Raider and the Yakuza, I didn't know that happened. So that's a
Yeah.
different story.
I will
I'm
say
just going for it.
the other reason I'm not voting for Arcane for personal choice is also because this is clearly Arcane's second season, and I haven't watched it because
Yes, it
Arcane
is. It
first
is clear. It
season
is.
was
It is. It
amazing,
is.
but this is the
It
second
is.
season.
Yes, this is Arcane second season, and it just got like it's just like start is like airing time,
Hmm.
so a lot to go on. But I've heard a lot of good things about the Arcane series, and
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people
I
have
was
like
I was
praised
gonna
things.
watch it, but it snuck up on me, and I wanted to watch the first
Yeah.
season first again because this shit's going straight from first to second season, and I needed a refresher, and I
Oh,
just haven't
oh,
had time.
is there already a second season in the works, or is it already down? It's already aired for Fallout.
No, no, I'm talking about Fallout. I'm talking about for Arcane.
Oh, Arcane, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I want to rewatch
yeah.
the first season before I get to the second one because there's just a lot that went on in the last couple episodes from what I remember, and I gotta refresh myself. I want to rewatch it, but
Oh
it's one of
yeah,
those shows that
definitely.
again, it's like an hour per episode, and I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch it.
You
So
know what you need? You just need to you just need to go to Dragon Ball Z and grab that time chamber, that hyperbolic time chamber, and just binge your shows.
I just need a
There you
fucking
go.
vacation,
Problem
dude.
fucking solved.
I need a fucking vacation. That's what I need.
You could, yeah, I know. I should. I need. I'm getting my next one is PAX Unplugged. So,
Yeah.
um, anyway, next up.
Next up, we got best multiplayer. This is a tough category. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which just came out, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. That is a very, very hard category for me. I'm going to tell you right now. But why don't
Yeah,
you tell me your
it is
thoughts,
tough.
Tang, while I'm putting the poll together?
Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is. And I will say this with all the Call of Duty games, it's cookie cutter. There's
Yeah, of course.
not anything. There's no flavor with any of the Call of Duty games after what was it, Black Ops 2. What if they had to get to a point where it's Black Ops 6? You're milking this cow too dry.
Mhm.
Helldivers 2, I play it constantly. They did just drop a new war bond, and
I'm
they
going to
also
do
have
a 3-minute poll because this is a tough category. Give
uh,
people a little time.
yeah. Helldivers 2 is going to be one of those. It's good when it's good when it is implemented
Hmm.
because there are these dry spells within Helldivers specifically that that makes you want to drop the game a little bit, and then when they do a new release, you get back into it.
Yeah,
That's how I
I
feel with
hope
Helldivers 2
I'm
specifically.
hoping because of that, Helldivers 2 will be in the ongoing category at least.
It's going to be. The problem is that and this kind of the problem with anime too, is that they have to they follow parallel with the creator.
Hmm.
So in order for us to get the creator to catch up and make new content, Helldivers has to divert itself a little bit and like give us filler.
Yeah.
That's why I think about Helldivers 2 is that I think of anime to manga comparisons. Um,
Okay.
Now with the recent stuff that's coming into Helldivers 2, a lot of people have jumped back into it. But I will say is that Helldivers 2 specifically has its dry spells, but it's still a good game. It just has a
It's
lot of
still a
dry
good game,
spells.
and the gameplay loop is still good, even when there's dry spells, so to speak. It's still easy to
Right.
be like, hey guys, you want to do a quick, dive, and then you
Yeah.
can hop right in. Whereas
Yeah,
Warhammer 40k Space Marine, for example, like it almost feels more like a hero shooter because you are picking a class to go into. And don't get me wrong,
correct.
it's fun and it's awesome, but at the same time, it is um I can see how it can get frustrating because it's a PvP. Like PvE is always
Right.
going to win out in my vote. And
Right.
Warhammer 40k Space Marine does have PvE as well, which is pretty cool. And they did add
Mhm.
more recently to it. I just haven't
Mhm.
played it yet, and because I got rid of my Game Pass or my Xbox Live or whatever, I can't even play the fucking thing right now. So
Uh
it's just sitting in my
yeah, but
Xbox.
I haven't actually played Mario Party Jamboree and I kind of want
It's
to.
fucking sick, dude. It's the greatest Mario Party probably ever.
I've heard that it fixed a lot of issues from the Mario Party, the last Mario Party
Hmm.
specifically.
Still got
Um,
about I think like 30 seconds left on that poll chat if you want to keep spamming your favorites. Out of these, we got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, which I'll be honest with you, no one is probably playing that.
I
I'm
feel like a lot. I feel like a lot of people who has played Tekken 8 specifically has fallen out of Tekken.
Yeah, like I've heard no hype for this game. Like the
I've
other four
heard
games on this
I've
list,
heard a
I have
good
heard
amount of hype.
such good stuff for, but not Tekken.
I've heard, yeah, like I heard a good amount of hype for Tekken 8 when it released.
Yeah.
Like a couple months later after that,
Ugh.
it like kind of faded to obscurity. But it
Yeah.
looks like looks like the for the vote was Helldivers 2.
It's gonna be
I'm actually going for
Helldivers
Helldivers
2.
2. I'm going for Helldivers myself specifically, but I do want to play Mario Party Jamboree. You know what you should do? It's when we come together again. We should just get a game of Mario Party together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For my personal vote, this is tough, man, because like when I
It
think
is
of
tough for
multiplayer
you.
games, I think Mario Party Jamboree is probably honestly the best out of the three. But Helldivers 2, I've put the most hours in this year, and I know Space Marine 2 is not going to be in any other category, so I feel almost obligated to vote for it here. So I'm gonna vote Space Marine, I think.
That's fine.
Yeah, I want Space Marine 2 to win something, but I know it has literally no shot at beating Helldivers in Call of Duty. Uh,
Unfortunately, especially when it comes to Helldivers, but I know that Space Marines specifically had a thing, but
yeah.
um,
Well, that's the thing, Ricky Roo. Tekken is probably a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's just that it just never gained any momentum or hype this year. I think people are still
yeah,
playing Street Fighter 6.
there was traction. I think there was a little bit of hype in the game, but after the game was released, there wasn't really much of the game to come up with.
Yeah.
If that makes
So,
sense.
all right, we're gonna move on to the next category. We've got best sports slash racing game. Oh boy.
This is where I will fall short and say none.
Yeah,
I have
bro.
no
What are
idea
these
which one this.
games? Are these really the best sports games that came out this year?
They're the only kind of sports game that came out this year.
Usually, there's a racing game that at least I've heard of. I've never even heard of
F124
Topspin.
apparently is the racing game of the of the year.
Yeah, I guess so. This is uh,
This to me is basically a no category because I don't know anything about the sports games world specifically.
yeah.
Because I don't like if this was any other game, I would probably pick something, but I don't follow the sports games realm.
I totally forgot they even came out with Topspin.
I'm surprised. I'm particularly surprised it was a WWE game. But I'm gonna pick that because
There
my
is
friends out there
WWE
play.
2K24. There's one every year.
Yeah,
They
I
skipped
don't
like I
know
think they
this.
skipped 22 because 2020 or 2021 was so bad. But yeah, they come out with one every other year. I don't know,
Yeah,
man. These are all I can't even. I have no dog in this race. I'm worse
I
in
got
this
no dog in
category
this
than I
race.
am with the fucking esports characters. Like
I'm
legit.
bad at this one. Sorry.
Because I'm even trying to think of like, okay, which sport at least would I prefer the most? And I'm like, I guess wrestling. Like
None.
like tennis.
None.
I don't want to play a tennis game. I don't want to play a basketball game. I don't want to play a soccer game. So it's really racing or wrestling, and I'm gonna go with wrestling for my personal vote
What
just
do you
because.
mean? You've always played basketball.
No, I have not. How dare you besmirch my name? Like even growing up, when I think of sports games I played when I was a kid, it's always been just
Mhm.
wrestling and racing. All the other games I just don't really care about. Sometimes if there's like a Mario element to it, I'll play it, but I don't know. I never really liked them. Looks like WWE is definitely going to win it for Nerd Crew's vote, and that's what I voted for personally as well. So
Mm.
that's what's going to get it. All right, we're just going to move right into the next category because this one was a poop category.
Yep.
Next is best sim slash strategy game. Oh, I already can tell you what's gonna win, but let's go through the category
Frostpunk
anyway.
2, I think, is gonna be the one that wins it. But I don't
Age
know
of
any of the other
Mythology
games.
Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord, which I think is actually gonna take it. Unicorn Overlord was
Really?
huge this year. Oh
I
yeah.
haven't actually watched. I haven't actually. I don't know about that one.
You've
Was it
never
actually
well, we
really?
did play it on the channel, I will say. I tried the demo when it came
Did
out.
we?
I did.
Oh, you probably did. Yeah. Okay.
I put
Um.
Let me put strats. So we got age. I'm just gonna put Frost FP2. I'm
Let
gonna
me
put
look up this game for a
Capcom's
second.
game.
Oh, you did play this game.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
It
Okay.
was an interesting game. My only complaint about it was that it had whatchamacallit? What is it called? When you actually don't play the battles.
It's the conversation one, like
No, not
the actual
conversation,
sim
but it's like you watch it. Yeah, you just watch them. You set up your guys and you let
I've
them
seen
auto battle. It's an auto battler.
auto battle.
That's the
Oh,
only thing I didn't really love about it, but I did play it at least.
you
So
did play a little bit of it. That's oh yeah. This reminded me of what was that game again? Mu- Musashi.
what Musashi game?
No, it's actually called Musashi. It's a game that was called Musashi. It's a older game in the PS2 era, I think. Wait, sorry, wrong game. What was that other game?
I don't know why, but my like phone is glitching. It's like not recognizing the polls for some reason. It seems like they're working for everyone else though, which is all that matters.
Yeah, but the art style of this one was basically the same one to me as
Hmm.
another game from that same company, I think.
Okay. Vanillaware?
Oh no, sorry, yeah, Vanillaware. Muramasa was that game.
That does sound familiar. But yeah, Age of
It's basically
Mythology. I mean,
a
the Age games, if that's the same as Age of Empires, those games are usually pretty good. Frostpunk, I have heard good things about, so I understand why you think it might win this category this year.
yeah, I heard a
Kunitsigami,
lot about Frostpunk.
that had a little bit of hype around it, and I heard it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Game Pass. I never got a chance to play it. I was gonna play it during one of my Game Pass roulettes, but I just didn't get the chance. And then Manor Lords,
Right.
I have heard of, but more so just heard of it because I saw it on Steam and I watched the trailer and it looked cool. But Unicorn Overlord, I do personally think that it's gonna get the win in the. It's gonna be between that and Frostpunk for sure, in my opinion. But I think Unicorn Overlord's gonna get the win because it did have a weird amount of hype around it. I think a lot of it was because Vanillaware and Atlas made it, and people were like, YouTubers at least were pushing for people to play it because they're like, please
Mm-hmm.
teach these companies that we want more of these games, so play this game.
Right.
And it did get a good amount of hype. So looks like Unicorn Overlord's
Mm-hmm.
going to take the win for Nerd Crew. And I think personally, my
I
personal
went with
choice is
Unicorn Overlord
also.
because the only one I know.
Yeah, I think my personal is also going to be that because I did play it. And again, I did like the game. It's just one, I found out that it's going to be probably like a 300-hour game that I don't have time for right now. And two, um, the auto battler, I feel like I played it, I did the auto battling, and then right
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, I saw someone reviewing it, and they were showing like all the different things you could do in the game, and I was like, this does sound cool. I just wish it wasn't an auto battler and it was like a you could pick what your guys are gonna do, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I did
That
buy the
makes
game
sense.
too. I have it on Switch. It's on the red wall of games that
Okay.
I
On
have.
the the game of Red Wall that probably won't be played for a while.
It is on the great red wall. So yeah,
All right.
Unicorn Overload's gonna
Next
make that
category.
one. All right, let's move on to the next category. If you're out there, go ahead and hit that follow button. You can use some of our new emotes. You can see them here if you'd like. Let me just put exclamation point emotes in the chat. But thanks to Silent Warlock once again
Hey.
for making these emotes for us. We really appreciate that. And if you're over on YouTube, come on over and hang out. All you need to do is follow. You don't even need a sub for these amazing emotes. We got Tentacool,
Oh yeah,
we got
no.
Splatoon, and no, we're not just a squid only channel. We also have Get Wrecked in Donkey Kong lettering, and what's the other one that you made?
The step off.
Oh, and yeah, the regular show Ducks. How could I forget? That
Dude,
was
that was
like,
the first emote,
dude, that was
honestly.
the first emo I had in mind when we started this channel together. I was like, one of these days when we get emotes, I need a step off emote. Like that was the first
But you
one.
got one.
The only thing we're missing, and I
Hey.
think we talked about this, is we do eventually need to get a raid emote. So if you're out there, chat, give us ideas for a good raid emote that we can create so that when we raid our friends, we can go ahead and toss in the raid emote
Easy.
in their chat. But in the
All right.
meantime, moving on to the next category, we are best family game. Okay, best family game. When I think of family
Ooh.
games, I generally think of games for all
That you could
ages,
play.
as well
Yeah.
as games you can play with your family. And I'm looking at this category, and there's not a lot of multiplayer in this category, but
The only
there
one
is a
I
lot
can
of
see
family
is the Mario
friendly
one.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, the only one I can see is Mario. And I've played two. I've seen one, I've played one. I've seen the rest.
All right, so while I'm putting up the poll, why don't you go ahead and read through the category for me?
So the first one is Astrobot, very cute game I want to get on the PS5. Princess Peach is Showtime, which is actually pretty interesting.
Did you play
Um,
Princess Peach?
no, but I've
Oh.
heard a couple good. I've heard a couple mixed good things, bad things, mixed things about Princess Peach specifically. Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is we already discussed. Legend of Link, Echoes of Wisdom. Very, very missed opportunity on that one. To be fair,
They
I
should.
then
You know what? You guys are right. I've heard that before, and you guys are right. they should have put Legend of Link.
right. We've always mistaken Legend of Zelda to be about Zelda, but it's actually about Link.
Yeah.
But this time it's not Legend of Zelda, now it should have been Legend of Link. Missed opportunity, I swear. And the Plucky Squire.
So out of these games, I have played Super Mario Party Jamboree, which again, excellent family game. I do think it still has that little rage-inducing kind of mentalities, but it's not as bad as past Mario parties. Especially
Yeah.
because in this one you can take out the luck-based games if you want, so it can be just
Yeah, there
skill,
is
or it
there
could
is
be easier with the luck-based
yeah,
stuff.
there's the thing now called Pro Play, which is basically you can
Mhm.
choose the you can bonus stars and the bonus stars in advance. And you also know the like what you can pick the game that you
Mhm.
play in the mini game.
Oh, okay.
Um, that's the one of the things.
The other game I have
I
played
have
is The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which I'm currently still playing. It's an awesome game. It is definitely Zelda easy mode. If you want your kids to get into Zelda, this is the first
mhm,
game you need to get them to play because it really is like the puzzles are very simple. It gives you a lot of freedom with the echoes to do however you want with whatever you want.
mhm.
And so I definitely think I'm kind of breezing through the game. It is very pick up and play for me. Like I play handhelds for like an hour and then I stop because I do feel like it's a little too easy. But I do see how it's a great family game. So my personal choice is probably going to be Echoes of Wisdom. We'll see what chat ends up picking in a couple seconds here.
Um, the Plucky Squire is actually a single player game, and I've actually played it on my own time on the Switch. It is very fun. I will say, some of the things might go over kids' heads, but I think for the terms of family play, I think
Mhm.
Mario Party is kind of like that good like section where you can play as a family or you can play solo.
Looks like Mario
Astrobot,
Party is going to get it from the chat. I was surprised. I thought
yeah,
they were going to vote another way. I'm going to be honest with you.
Astrobot is very cute, but it's there are a lot of stuff in Astrobot specifically that is kind of catered towards the adults in the room. More
Mm.
specifically, the nostalgia of the IPs that are in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
There are there are games that are old that is old as their children. Old. I'm going
Possibly
for
older.
Super Mario for my pick. Possibly older, yes.
Yeah, I wish I had gotten some time with Plucky Squire because I did hear good things about it. I didn't get any time with it. I think it's coming to Game Pass or it's already in Game Pass and I just didn't get a chance to play it.
It's already been released already, so it should be
Yeah.
in Game Pass. But I also have it on the Switch, so
Yeah. All right. Looks like chat is definitely going with Mario Party because, they love the Mario parties. Everyone on Twitch loves
everybody
Mario
loves the
parties.
Mario Party. Yeah, I do want to play it at some point.
So the next
Anyway,
next one is best fighting game. We got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. I had never heard of that game. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. I'm surprised that's even eligible, but they did release a statement saying that remakes, remasters, and DLCs will be eligible for all categories. This is probably
I'll,
why they
I
said
feel
that.
like we could talk about that one at the end of this
Yeah.
one because I have thoughts about that one.
Multiverses and Tekken 8. Those are your fighting games, your best fighting games. I'm gonna get the poll ready if you want to go ahead and give
I
us your
think a
opinion.
lot of people were very hyped about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero
Oh yeah, for sure.
specifically.
And people who've played it have actually said that like, no, it really is fucking amazing.
Grand Blue versus you actually would know Grand Blue. It
I've
wasn't
heard of Grand Blue.
yeah.
I didn't know they came with a fighting game this year.
The Grand Blue has always has been a fighting game, but yeah, they did release a Grand Blue this year. I actually forgot that they released it this year. Um, Marvel Capcom Fighting Collection, I'm kind of on the fence about, and we could talk about
Mhm.
DLCs, remakes, and stuff like that.
All right,
later
2 minute
on.
poll is in the chat. Go ahead and cast thine votes. I will say out of these, not to interrupt you, but the only one I've actually played is Multiverses, and I did play that on chat.
Stream
On whatchamacallit,
Game Pass.
Game Pass Roulette. I think that was on Game Pass Roulette, and I was surprised. The game was actually fun. If this is the game I'm thinking if it
Yeah, I
was.
think so. Multiverse is the one with all the Cartoon Network
Yeah, but it
characters.
had like a roguelike mode in it, and I was like, this is fucking sick. I'm
Right.
liking this. So I'm gonna definitely cast my vote for that.
Yeah, Multiverse one. I think Multiverse was was that the one? I think so. Yeah, this one has like that. This one has that battle pass kind of style, which I'm kind of
Yeah.
not into. To be
I
fair,
will say
so
Marvel vs. Capcom. I have played Marvel vs. Capcom in the past on old systems,
yeah,
but I
everybody
think
has.
I've only played. Well, I don't play fighting games, so it is a little bit surprising I've
I
played it. I think
don't.
I played the second one. I'm pretty sure I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the 360 because my friends in
Right.
college had it, and they were just like passing the controller around and letting people button mash and shit. And that's the only reason I like the game is because it's very button mash friendly. I will say I remember that. Again, we talked about Tekken 8.
Well,
I
you
think has
can really
fallen
be
off,
fun.
and
Honestly, any sort of game that's like kind of fighty style can be
mhm,
button mash friendly. Soul Calibur's button mashy.
yeah.
Street Fighter's called button mashy.
Some of
Yeah, a
them
lot of them can be
are
button
button
mashy.
mash friendly, though. I will say there are some that are very technical, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna get your ass whooped. So
Basically, that's what happened.
yeah, I will
I'm
say in
going
this
with
category, I think DBZ is gonna win this year,
I
but
think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if people voted Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection just because there is like a weird hype around it because it was delisted for a long time and it's making a weird comeback and people are like, buy it
Right,
physically
right,
now before it gets
right.
delisted again and then we're all fucked again. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
looks
mm-hmm.
like chat has voted for DBZ. Galaxy Prime putting in 50 channel points to make sure that happened. Good on you.
Wow.
I'm assuming Galaxy that you've played DBZ Sparking Zero then and are loving it because I've heard great things about the game. I will say, like story mode's
I've heard
amazing,
nothing but good things about that one.
graphics are amazing. Everything about it has just been like all the greatness of Budokai cranked up to 11. Basically, that's what I've
More or
heard.
less, yeah.
So okay. Galaxy Prime just put explosions in the chat. I think that's an
Oh.
old chat though, but either way, it works for this category too. I don't know if my. Hmm. Oh no, okay, I see it. For a second, I didn't think my chat reloaded properly, but it is reloading. All right. So next category. Ugh. Oh wait, I gotta vote my personal vote. I think for my personal vote, because it's the only one I've played, I'm gonna probably put Multiverses. But if Multiverses wins, I will be absolutely fucking gobsmacked, surprised. There's no way that game's gonna win, but just in case, that's what my personal vote's gonna go for. Because when I vote personally on these things, I always try to go with things I've actually played. And when we get to like the
Mm-hmm.
Crunchyroll Anime Awards, it's gonna be like, I've heard this show is good, but it's got to be a show I've actually watched some of. That's always
Right.
my own personal rules. So
It
going
is
to the
the same
next
for me.
one, here we go. Oh, okay. I thought there'd be other ones in this category, but best RPG, we got Dragon's
Nope. It
Dogma
wasn't.
2, Elden Ring
Mm-hmm.
Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
VII Rebirth, Like a
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Refantasio.
So I've heard good things about Metaphor V Fantasio.
Oh
I
yeah.
heard many things about the Shadow of the Earth Tree.
Yep.
Don't know about the other. I'm not sure. I know about like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and then Final Fantasy. Dragon's Dogma is off, like is on my radar actually.
Which one? Dragon Dogma?
Dragon's Dogma, yeah.
I'm just gonna put Yakuza. I know it's like a dragon. I don't care.
It is technically it's technically Yakuza like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So it is there is a Yakuza in there, but it's just not highlighted.
Yeah, for this one, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like in terms of at least gameplay I've seen, um, oh man, I
Elden
Dragon's
Ring.
Dogma
But
really fell off hard. Like that game was kind of hyped, but it came out, everyone was like, "Yeah, it all right," and then just never talked about it. Elden Ring, I've seen some gameplay of. It's Elden Ring. I can't tell you the difference between Shadow of the Erdtree and the normal game because they really are just the
so
same thing. It's just an expansion to the story. So
so Shadow of the Earth Tree specifically has certain abilities, weapons,
yeah, I mean,
that
it's just an
armor and
expansion.
stuff that's specifically for the Earth Tree that you can't use elsewhere, I think.
Yeah.
So
And
technically
then
DLC.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does look sick as hell. I really want to play Final Fantasy, but I was originally waiting for Erica to beat it on PS4, the original one, and then
Hmm.
and she couldn't get past a certain part, so then I just never played it. And then when this one came out, I got even more demotivated to play the first one because the second one was for PS5 only, and we don't have a PS5. So I was like, "The fuck's the point of playing this shit
Yeah.
then?" Then Infinite, I will say, Like a Dragon has always piqued my interest for a game, and
Right.
Metaphor, like they say it's basically just a fantasy style Persona
Hmm.
without a lot
Yeah.
of the bullshit school mechanics, which is like I'm sold. I want to
The
play that
time
so bad.
mechanics. The time mechanics is the big thing that I'm never been a fan of in the Persona series. It was the time crunch,
Well, the time
basically.
crunch isn't something that like irks me because I did watch some streamers. I watched Hang Time play like through all of Persona,
Hmm.
3 and 4 and 5 I think at this point. Obviously I didn't catch everything. I caught parts of it. And the game does look really cool. It does look grindy as fuck. But for Metaphor, the reason why I'm kind of more interested in this game than of the normal Persona games is because it's got that fantasy aspect and because there's no school bullshit in it. Like those are the two things that were
Finally, no
yeah,
school.
those are the two things dragging Persona down for me. But it looks like chat has voted for
Yeah,
Final Fantasy VII, which I
I'm actually gonna
personally
go for.
think
I'm going for metaphor.
this is hard, but I think Elden Ring's gonna end up winning this fucking category when it comes out. I really do think that when the Game Awards happen, we're gonna see an upset because the reason why people are currently upset about the fact that they are putting remasters and remakes and DLCs into the Game Awards, everyone basically saw that note and was like, they're doing that just because they want to put Urtry in these categories. They want to put it in Game of the Year and they want to put it in other categories, and we're seeing it right here. This is the second DLC or remake that we've seen so far today,
Hmm.
and I do think it's gonna end up winning. I think people love that game. I think if there's anything that can beat it, it's gonna be Final Fantasy, but I do
Right.
think Urtry's gonna win. And for my personal vote, because it's a game I want to play, I'm gonna vote for Metaphor.
I actually do want to play metaphor as well, but
Because I
I'm
have
gonna
no
probably put
desire
that
to
at
play
the
Dragon's
moment.
Dogma or Elden
Not
Ring,
really.
but I do
Not
have
really.
slight interest in Final Fantasy, Like a Dragon, and Metaphor. So I'm going to vote for Metaphor. All right.
All right.
Next
Next
up
up.
is Best Action / Adventure Game. We've got
Oh, okay.
Astrobots, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars
Hmm.
Outlaws, which better not fucking win, and Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Let me get the poll up and running.
I know it's gonna be a tie between Astrobot and Legend of Zelda. That's my guess.
You mean for who's going to actually win or your vote?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
My vote specifically is going to be Astrobot.
Oh, okay.
The reason why because what the gameplay that I've seen, they they always use like they have a mechanic that they have, and they always make it different every time they have the
Mm,
similar mechanic, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. They're basically not using the same mechanic over and over again. It's the same mechanic, but you're using it in a different way, which is actually pretty cool.
okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of games do that pretty well. I like the games that like introduce a new mechanic and let you use it for what you're doing, and then it still is useful later on. Because there's a lot of games, like especially Zelda games, where it's like,
Yeah.
here's a boomerang, you're gonna use it for this one area, and then you're just never gonna really use it for any of the other dungeons, and that kind of
Yeah,
annoys me.
for the Legend of Link specifically, I know for a fact that there's a lot of echoes, I believe they're
Hmm.
called, that you can basically use them in any way that you want. It's basically was Zel Legend of Link was basically made for like the people who's like, I don't want to do it this way. I want to try it my way.
Hmm.
Was Astrobot is basically a very linear set of puzzle and like platforming things and traversal stuff. So it's that that kind of idea is just like that idea in my head works. But in terms of like converting traversal and puzzle solving, I think Legend of Link would probably be better the
Yeah.
better vote.
Got
It's
about
because that
20
you can
seconds left in that voting chat. Don't forget to cast them votes. I
yeah,
will
I know that Legend
say
of
I will
I
say
know that
my
there's.
personal vote is going to go for Zelda because it's the only one of these that I've played. So
I'm actually very curious as to how Outlaws is considered puzzle solving. I get it, but
Well, it's
I
action
haven't really.
adventure. So this is
Yeah, I
when I think
haven't
of action
really.
adventure, I think of an action game that has like a big grand scale adventure, as opposed to some adventure
Right.
games which are just like basically just button mash fighting style games or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it's called. Uh what are those games called that are just? I mean, I think they're just called action games, but kind of like your God of Wars.
Like
You know what I mean?
the button mashing games.
Yeah. There's a specific
They're
name for
called
them.
the. They're usually called like hack and slash.
Hack and slash, that's right. When I think of action only games, I think of hack and slashes basically, or maybe beat 'em ups. Like those are the two kinds of
Mm.
subcategories I would think. When I think of an action slash adventure game, I'm thinking something more of like a grand scale adventure. Which I mean, you could
I
also
feel like
argue God of War is a grand scale adventure, but I would almost
honestly, I will
consider the
probably.
original
I'm actually.
trilogy to be
Yeah.
action, and then the
Hmm.
second one to be like more adventurous.
I'm actually
So
very surprised that Plucky Squire's not in this one because that's technically an action adventure game,
yeah,
roughly,
yeah. I
as
mean,
linear as it sounds.
it's hard. They're splitting hairs with some of these because, like Silent Hill 2, for example, yeah, that's probably more an adventure puzzle solving game for sure. But is it action based? I don't even know honestly. But looks like chat has decided that Zelda's gonna take it, which is what my personal vote went for too.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of like action adventure, I think Legend of Link will probably take it just because of the absurd amount of of stuff you can do to
Mhm.
kind of like go around the system. Like sometimes I'll you to do one thing, but like I don't want to do it this way. I just want to do
Yeah, they
anyway.
definitely. I will say, like, I've played the game enough to know that, like, normally for a puzzle you're about to enter, they give you at least one new echo that should help you solve it. But you can use
Right.
older echoes that'll do similar things, and you can still solve it in other ways, which is nice. But like, definitely, if you're stumped on something, you just need to take a look around, and be like, okay, there's definitely an echo around here that I'm supposed to use for this piece.
Right.
So like, it still does that, but it still gives you a little bit more freedom. It's a great game. I don't know, man. I feel like if I play it for more than 2 hours at a time, I just get a little bored of it, which is why I usually play it for
Mm,
like an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll put it down and then pick it back up another couple days later. But it's a very
fair
easy.
enough.
It's perfect for the Switch or for like a Steam Deck to just like pick up and go. But all right, next category is best action game.
So
Oh,
this is where
Warhammer.
the
Okay.
this is actually where your hack and slash will also come into
Yeah,
play.
so best action game for the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat, meaning there's not as many puzzles and other things. It's mostly just focused on like running guns and stuff like that. And we've got Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6,
Mm-hmm.
Helldivers
Whatever.
2, Stellar
Mm-hmm.
Blade, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. Oh, this is a really tough category. There's a
It's gonna
lot of
be
good stuff in here.
it's actually gonna be a toss up. I feel it's gonna be a toss up between Wukong, Helldivers, and Warhammer. I think.
I don't know, man. I think you're selling Stellar Blade short. People loved that game.
I haven't really played Stellar Blade, so I can't really give you my honest opinion about it.
Yeah, I
I can
haven't
give you
played it
my honest
either,
opinion
but
about it.
I haven't played
But
it
I have
either, but I've heard enough people talk about how much they loved it, and not just for the whatchamacallit, the fan service.
yeah.
But all right, poll is up, chat. Go ahead and toss your votes in there. I mean, obviously on this channel we've played a lot of Helldivers and a lot of Warhammer 40k, so those are where probably my personal votes are going towards. Like I said, Call of Duty. I mean, I know the story is better this time around from what I've heard. I just can't justify voting for a Call of Duty game. I think they've hit such a low point that honestly anything was going to be decent this time around. Like,
I
I hate saying it that way, but that's what it seems like to me at least.
I don't think Call of Duty specifically has gotten off its rut.
Mm. Make sure,
They're
chat, that you are
trying
voting
to
multiple times with your points too, because
they
people are getting
are
their votes drowned out.
so I know that they're trying to like curtail their like audiences, I
Hmm.
guess, when it comes to Call of Duty, but I think Call of Duty as a as a franchise itself, I think it's just running out of steam.
Mm. Yeah, I think so
They're
too. I
trying to
think
stay afloat
they've
with a they're trying to stay afloat with a small amount of coal they have.
Yeah, they tried going a little bit more modern. They've tried going into like space related shit. I mean, I don't know where
Yeah,
else
but
they
I
can
think
go,
they
honestly.
every
It's a
every
little bit of
single one of
infighting going
those
on in
has
the chat
been
right now,
like
making me laugh. But I don't know, man. This is a tough category. My personal vote, I think, is definitely gonna go to Space Marine 2 because when I
mhm,
think of an action game, I think Space Marine 2 has better action in it than Helldivers. I think Helldivers has a really good
yeah.
co-op to it, and I do think that I have a weird
I
feeling
know
that
that
when the votes
Wukong
go in, I do think either Wukong or Stellar Blade is gonna take it in the end, personally. But I'm gonna vote for Space Marine 2.
like Wukong and Stellar Blades are kind of in the same category as a hack and slash.
Yeah,
As opposed to like Warhammer where you're kind of like meticulous with your weapon sets and armor sets stuff like that. So
yeah,
I my vote actually is going to be on Warhammer itself, although Black Myth Wukong is interesting in terms of its gameplay. I just only
yeah.
watched it.
Looks like
I need
Helldivers is gonna take it from our chat. Very well fought victory over there. Use up them points. I did see one vote for Black with Wukong, so when I only saw the one vote for it, that's why I was like, if you're voting for stuff in our chat, make sure you vote multiple times because there's people out there who are diehards. They're ride or die for these games. So,
uh,
but
I'm
yeah,
guessing you're the one
Wukong.
who
Not just me. No, I know I did not vote for Black Myth. I voted for Space Marine. Ricky Roo was spamming Helldivers for sure.
I'm sure.
For
We need
sure.
to get a game. We need to get a four-man together.
Yeah, dude, Helldivers is fun, man. I will admit. The game, I feel like the game is a lot of fun, but it can get frustrating at times just because like, they keep messing with it a little bit too much in my opinion. Like they were like, "Oh, we're going to make it a
They
little easier, then we're going to buff it back up," and then
they
it's
try
like
to
just make
they're
the game and
trying
leave it
their
alone.
they're trying their best to balance the game as best as they can on the fly. That's the reason why there's like these sort of dry spells is because they're trying to balance the game as best they can without losing the fan base.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
I
know,
know.
like the flamethrower just got its buff back where it can like singe through armor,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same
enemies.
thing with
So
Space Marine. Space Marine was perfect, and then they came out with an
mhm,
update to try and balance some stuff, and
yeah,
and everyone hated the balance. Like Call of Duty goes through the same thing. Every time Call of Duty comes out, everyone loves it, and then they do a balance update, and it fucks the game. Like game devs, just leave the game alone. People will pick their favorite guns, they'll have fun with it. Just you don't have to balance shit all the time. Let shit be unbalanced. As long as it
I
doesn't
think
become a competitive shooter like Call of Duty, there's just no reason
yeah.
to balance stuff.
I I think there's also just like fixes with like how like enemy nerfs and like stuff like that. Just balancing between enemies being too easy and too hard. It's always a
Yeah.
big balancing act when it comes to those kinds of games. So I get it.
Mhm. All right, we're gonna keep rolling
Hopefully they
through
will
this.
keep. Hopefully they will keep that trajectory though.
Yeah,
So
going to the
it's fine.
next category of best VR/AR. I will say I have not played any of these games.
The only one that I've seen like actual gameplay of is Batman's Arkham Shadow.
I've heard of the game. I heard it was excellent, but I actually haven't seen anything for
So
it.
I might just skip over VR because I haven't delved into the realm of VR games,
I
in
have
my opinion.
yeah, I have whatchamacallit. I have the PSVR for the first one. I
Yeah.
just and I do collect the games for it, but I don't know, man. I don't really play it very often because it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up. But we'll go ahead and put the poll in. I'll do a minute poll for this one because I don't think anyone in our chat really plays VR that hard. So
No.
yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be doing much voting for this one. Just based off of what they're about, I would say Batman Arkham looks cool and Metal Hellsinger VR. I've seen some gameplay and that does look pretty sick. Obviously, I'm
Mm-hmm.
biased as fuck because it has heavy metal music in it, but these other ones like Metro Awakening, Asgard's Wrath, and Arizona Sunshine remake. Again, we've got another remake here, chat.
Yeah, the remakes are kind of killing vibes for me specifically.
I don't
Um,
mind it, but again, if the remake is
th-
is good enough where
there's
it's
so
getting the
much you can
hype,
do with a remake. But
yeah,
there's so much you can do with a remake to make it good or better than what it was previously.
I
Because
agree
when I
with what
think of
people's
remakes,
sentiments are that just they need to have a category that is just here's best remake,
remake.
here's best
Yeah.
DLC, and that's it. and
Right.
or here's best remaster. You know what I mean? So it looks
Right.
like the poll ended with no votes. So for
That's
Nerd
fine.
Crew, this is going to be a skip.
That's fine.
And honestly, for my personal, I'm just going to put in Hellsinger just because I think it's a cool game. Oh no, wait,
I think
I
it's
said I can't vote for stuff I haven't played. Never mind. Skip.
we haven't played any of the other games though.
Yeah, I haven't played any of these, but moving on to the next one, we got best mobile game. Oh hell yeah, I see the best one right there. But we're gonna go through them real
Um
quick. AFK Journey, which I do find kind of interesting. I've seen enough, trailers for
I've
it and stuff.
played
But
it on my PC a little
hmm
bit because somebody was a friend of mine was kind of sponsored by them.
yeah, they were
The
rolling out a lot of sponsors.
yeah, this has a little bit of an all battler as well, so that might be something that you
That's
might not
that's the reason why I
like.
haven't played it. I found out that it was auto battling, and I just
You
was like, eh.
can you is a the all battler though is optional.
Oh, okay. See, that's better. If I can do it, that's better.
Yeah, the battle Pacific is optional. Because there is tactics that you can employ at some point. So
Hmm.
I actually do play it. Battle Latro is interesting. It's a roguelike card. It's a roguelike game that uses the roguelike card game that uses like actual like what's the one looking for? Um
It uses actual cards. I've heard of it before.
it
I've seen
uses cards
some
that actually do
gameplay,
actual
but
poker.
yeah,
Actual poker
I've
rules,
seen some
basically.
gameplay of it. It does look kind of sick, but
I
I
think the only one who has played it is actually Jesse.
Jesse's played Balatro. I didn't realize that. I do want to get
Yes,
it for
Jesse has.
Switch for the record. It has come out physically for the Switch. I just got to get a copy for it. The next one
Yeah,
is Pokemon
Jesse.
TCG, which is definitely my
Yeah.
vote. Wuthering Waves, I've never heard of. And then, of course, the GOAT on this list right now, Jesse will realize it soon, Zenless Zone Zero. So
Oh
if
my
you're in
goodness,
chat,
this is
Jesse, go ahead
actually
and just
I
vote for
know.
it now because you know it's going to be your best favorite mobile game of the year.
You know what? You know what I'll do? I'll what I'll do is I'll send this over to our chat. Just let him know that this is like one of the stuff that's on it right
It's just meant to
now.
be. It's just meant to be. Look, it's right there for him.
I know.
It
I
does.
haven't played. I
It.
do want to try and play Zenless Zone Zero at some point, just to see how it is.
I have seen gameplay
Um,
of it, and it does look sick as fuck. I will say that. That's why I picked it for him because I'm
I
like,
know that Kamui. I know that Kamui specifically has cosplayed one of the characters in this, so it looks interesting enough for me.
mm-hmm.
But I haven't actually played it myself, so I will probably play it at some point. I'll probably just put it on my iPad or something just to play it.
Yeah. Looks like
But
Pokemon TCG is definitely going to win it from our chat. And honestly, it's the only one of these I've played personally, and I love this game.
yeah,
I'm definitely addicted to this shit. I actually played it like right before
I'm.
I came on stream. So
It's. I feel as a person who has played this for a couple weeks now, I feel like it's okay.
it is okay. It's just enough of a gameplay loop that's
It's
addicting, and
not
I don't
enough.
have to put
Yeah,
money into it. A lot of the free mechanics are perfectly fine to
yeah.
get through this game, which is what I like about it.
Right. Yeah, so like example like for Zenless Zone Zero, for example, or for AFK Journey and like Withering Waves, which is the other one. Um, it's that level of gotcha that's problematic to me at least.
Yeah,
But anyway.
yeah.
I'm actually gonna go. I will say for the sake of this argument, it's gonna be because I have only played two of these games. I'm actually gonna go with the Pokemon trading card game.
Hmm.
Um, AFK Journey is fine. There is just the slightest bit of gotcha, but there is a mechanic
Yeah.
that you can use in AFK Journey that you can guarantee a character if you want.
Hmm. I will say I think Balatro is going to take this category for sure.
Balatro might take the category just because of its roguelike. They roguelike
It's roguelike and it's addictive as
sensitive.
fuck. Every YouTuber
Yes,
I
very much so.
watch plays tons of
Mhm.
Balatro. Like they all love it. So, all
Very much so.
right, we're gonna kind of speed through some of these categories. So let's
Yeah,
move
because
on to the
this
next
game.
one. Best debut indie game. We got Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lord, Specific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. I will say once again, I think Balatro or Animal Well is gonna take this category. I've never even heard of Pacific
Mhm.
Drive, so this for me personally
Oh,
is
I
kind of a
have
skip
heard Pacific
category.
Drive. I have heard Pacific Drive. Okay, that's one. Okay, now I know it.
Yeah,
Um,
you're our indie guy, so have you played these?
so Balatro, I have played a little bit of Pacific Drive. I've seen. Plucky Squad, I have played. Manor I have not. That's one of the weird ones actually. I think the Manor was it was that Sims game too. So I'm not particularly in like the s- the Sims, like the Sim world, like mechanics. Um,
Hmm.
I find some of them, I find it kind of boring in my taste. Just to have it, but I did play like as a Dragons and Kingdoms and Dragons before, but that's
Hmm.
beside the point. Animal Well was one of those games that I think was in the horror genre, so I didn't
No,
play that
it's not
one.
horror. It's just a
It's
platforming game
not.
in a like a darkish, like a Hollow Knight style kind of universe, but with animals instead of bugs, pretty
Oh.
much. It's made by Big Mode, which, or it's I shouldn't say it's made by. It's
Oh yeah,
produced
this
by
one was a
Big
little.
Mode.
Yeah, this one's a little slimy guy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've
yeah.
seen
So
it.
this one's been
Um,
taking the world by storm. People have been saying it's really good,
yeah, I
but I
think.
can't tell if they're saying that just because Video Game Donkey produced it, or if it's actually super good. I do have the game physically. I just haven't played it yet for
For
Switch.
Animal Well?
Yeah, for Animal Well, I bought it because it was I think Limited Run did the thing for that
Oh.
one, but
I think for the debut game specifically, it's gonna either be Balatro or Animal Well. Plucky Squire is great. It actually Plucky Squire is really good because it actually combines a lot of genres, like a lot of like genres of games together.
hmm.
In terms of like graphics and everything. So it's like you're never like tired of one thing.
Yeah.
I'm going for Sucker Squire in my opinion because I haven't played the other three
Okay, well,
before.
Balatro took it
Chat.
from our chat, and I'm gonna skip this one because I haven't played any of these games. I really got to play Balatro. I just, like I said, I want to get
I think
physically
I
on
should.
Switch,
I
so
think. I think. I think. Like I said, I think Jesse has played Balatro, so I think we should just ask him.
yeah. If he was here, we would ask him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Looks like next one is best indie game, which of course that was indie for a debut, meaning it was that studio's first production, but this one is just pure indie completely. And we got
Indie
Animal
game in
Well again,
general.
Balatro again,
Balatro.
Lorelei and the
Lorraine and
Laser
Liz.
Eyes, which I have heard of, but
I haven't heard of that one.
I've heard of it.
Never
I
have
just
played.
haven't played it or seen gameplay. Neva, I've heard good things about, and then UFO 50 I've been hearing about recently. Apparently, it's like 50 mini games that you just play.
Oh, it's like a Wario,
Yeah, very
warehouse
WarioWare
thing.
like apparently, but yeah,
Yeah,
chat poll is up. Go ahead and vote for your favorite one. Again,
I'm
I hate
mm,
saying it because I love indie games, but I haven't played fucking any of these this year.
my my brother has been telling me about Neva specifically.
Oh
I
yeah.
have I Neva looked interesting, and I do want to play it at some point, and I'll probably will.
Hmm.
But it's under the same what was it? The same developers degrees, Gris.
Yes, yeah, and I
Well,
haven't
yes.
played that either.
That one to me and like Neva kind of reminds me of a journey type game. If
My
you
problem with these games is that they're artsy platformers, and I like
yeah.
platformers, and I don't mind artsy games, but for some reason every time I see an artsy platform, I'm just like, eh. Like they for some reason just don't do it for me. Every time I see a platformer with just like, oh look how beautiful it is, I'm like, I don't really care that much. But
Mm-hmm.
it looks like Neva is gonna take it from the chat, which is a little surprising. I wasn't sure what they'd pick, but it's definitely gonna
I
take it.
Yeah, so Neva is like one of the beautiful like looking games to me, and it has a journey style, which I'm kind of into. But I'll probably play Neva at some point on stream, maybe. So we'll
It
see.
hurts me that
We'll
for
see.
my personal choice, I'm gonna have to skip indie game this year. Like I really do pride myself on trying to play indie games here and there, and I guess this year I just missed them all. And
You
mostly it's
missed the
because
mark,
again, I haven't
dude.
started Animal Well. I do own it, I haven't started it, and also I've been waiting for Balatro to come out physically, so that's why I haven't played that
Just
one either.
play it else. Just play on the mobile. It's on mobile now.
Yeah, it is on mobile. I think you have to pay for it though. I don't think it's free.
You always have to pay for Balatro.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
sure it's cheap as hell though. But the next category is best community support. Fortnite's there
This
like
one
every
feels
year.
like a filler. This one feels like a filler to me, honestly.
Kind of, but I can see why they do it at least. Like they're trying to
Right.
tell you like these are like the ongoing games that the community does support and that the developers support the community when they need it. Uh, so we got Baldur's Gate 3, which honestly I forgot that came out this year. No, that came out last year, right?
What? Final Fantasy
Uh,
16?
no, Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate was last year. That was the game of the year last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Game of the Year last year. Yeah, so it didn't come out this year.
Yeah, but it still has a lot of community support, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I mean, I'm just glad to see that because this category is usually the same fucking games every time. All right, chat, I'm going to put a
Mm-hmm.
minute on the poll. Go ahead and vote. But this time, I'm surprised. Fortnite and No Man's Sky. Oh, I'm sorry. I put 16. That's supposed to be Final Fantasy 14. Final
It's
Fantasy 14,
fine.
Fortnite,
You
and
get
No
it.
Man's Sky are the only. They're here every year, but it's nice to see that they kind of kicked off like the Overwatches and the other bullshit games, and they put Helldivers and Baldur's Gate on here. Like, I'm surprised to see those here. I'm
I
more so
think
surprised to see Baldur's Gate, honestly. But
I think Baldur's Gate specifically has a lot of community support around it, which is probably the reason why it's considering its nomination. Because I know that Helldivers 2 had a lot of responses from
mhm,
social media.
yeah,
So
this is the first category where I've actually played all of these games. Can you believe that? Fucking community support. That's the one. I have I haven't played it very often or recently, but I have played Final Fantasy 14 before. I've played Baldur's Gate 3 for like a couple hours. I played Fortnite for
hmm
way too much. I've played Helldivers
I
2 a shitload, and I've played No Man's Sky. This is finally the first category, chat, that we've gotten to where I've actually played every fucking game in the category.
I'm actually gonna go for Helldivers just because of its I go for Helldivers just because of its like response.
Yeah, it looks like Helldivers is definitely going to win it from the chat. Bold Mouse is right. Baldur's Gate 3 did get a bunch of mods too,
All
and mod
right.
support, if I remember correctly, they got
All
as well.
right. Right, right,
So
right, right, right.
that's where the community support comes in for sure. But
Right.
personally, this is honestly a tough vote. I feel like I usually just throw my vote away and give it to Fortnite every year, but since we actually have good games in this year, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my personal vote onto the Helldivers as well. I think they've done a really good job keeping up, and yeah, they've had a few couple stumbles with their uh,
Mm,
overzealous uh, balancing problems, but I think that it's got a lot of good community support. And it's one of the few
right.
games out there where like the community themselves aren't a bunch of trash bags, so that always helps.
Fair.
All right, moving into the next category. Best ongoing game. This is also usually a bunch of bullshit, and yep, I am seeing a lot of bullshit in this category.
The
Let's go.
only bullshit I'm seeing specifically is Fortnite, but that's just beside the
What I
point.
mean by bullshit is I mean like every year it's the same fucking games in this category.
No, not necessarily. I don't think the last. Well, I have the. Let me see. I have the last
I think
Game
Diablo
Award.
is like the only one that's new this year. Oh, and Helldivers.
Helldivers is a new one this year, but let me see best ongoing.
All right, chat. I'm
I
putting a
have
minute on the poll. Go ahead and spam them votes. Use them channel points.
the last year's ongoing game was Cyberpunk, Apex, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. So the only one that's new here is Fortnite.
Oh, I could have sworn it was the same shit.
The only one that's new is Fortnite.
Are you
And that is
sure?
filler to me. And that is filler to me. Yep,
Yeah.
I have the list right now.
Say the list
It's
one more time. Cyberpunk. Yeah. Okay.
Cyberpunk, Apex, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact.
That's what's missing from these categories.
Genshin?
Apex.
Oh, Apex.
Apex is
Yeah,
usually in these categories for community
yeah, but
support and best ongoing.
But Apex has been on decline lately. So
I guess I didn't realize that because I just don't
I know
pay
for like
attention to it.
I will say for the last one, which was community support, was Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, and No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky was a new one.
Yeah,
Well, New Man's
yeah.
Sky and Baldur's Gate 3 were the old ones. So
Mhm.
I'm just saying. And it
Looks
looks like
like
Helldivers is the
yeah, it looks like chat's going
ongoing.
for Helldivers again. I mean, Helldivers is gonna sweep for our chat because our chat loves
I
Helldivers.
I think Helldivers as well, just because of it has evolved over time. To
I
be fair,
I gotta say honestly,
yeah, that would just I haven't played Destiny 2 in like in 2 years now, so I can't really say.
if I
So
didn't put myself on a Fortnite ban, I probably would be personally voting for it because this past year specifically, they have added a shitload of new stuff to Fortnite.
oh, I'm very much aware of how you what's your on off relationship about Fortnite.
Yeah. Well, it's just because now they've added a lot of new gameplay mechanics to it. Like you got the music stuff now, you got classic mode, you got no build mode, you got build mode, you got racing mode,
Legos,
Legos. Like
Legos.
they've added so much that honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they won this category in the end, but I don't think they will personally, I do think that Helldivers is going to actually take this category for sure.
Mm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Fortnite came out on top because they really have added so much just in this past year alone onto that fucking game. So,
I can imagine.
I mean, even Bubble Mouse is calling it for Fortnite. So, on to the next one. Games for Impact. For a thought provoking game with a pro social meaning or message. We got Closer the Distance,
I don't know
Indica,
that one. I don't know that
Neva,
one.
Life is
Yes.
Strange Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Zenzera Zao. I will say I've
Okay.
heard of these four games, these last four, but
Yeah. These two I don't remember.
I've never heard of Closer the Distance and Indica. I've literally like even seeing their artwork, I'm like I've never even heard of these games at all. This one
I
does
think
have 6 options, chat, so unfortunately the poll only gives us 5.
so. Just take
So
out the two that just take out the two that we don't know because
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off. Well, yeah, I'm gonna put the first 5 down, and then in chat, if you want to vote for Tails, just write
just
the word.
comment it in
Yeah,
chat.
write the word
Just comment in
Tails.
chat.
I don't think anyone's gonna vote for it, but just in case. Impact. Only because I mean, at least people have probably heard of that game because I've heard of it at least. But Closer,
I haven't, to
I've
be
heard of it
honest.
because it was in like
You'll.
directs and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's why I've heard of it.
I have I have a fondness for Neva, but I've seen Senua's like kind of impact on it. I've seen Senua's Hellblade 2 specifically. Senua's Saga is interesting to me, but I think I was might go for Neva, me personally. We haven't played the other ones.
Unfortunately, this is going to be a skip category for me because I haven't played any of these. I know Bubble Mouse has told me I should play Hellblade, especially because I did have Game Pass, which it was there for free.
It's
But in order to play the
very
second one, you should play the first one, and I still haven't played the first one yet, so that's why I
yeah,
never
you have to
got a
play the
chance
first
to.
one, not get the second one, because that's kind of the point. Um,
But I heard they're
but
not
I
long
think
games at least, so I could always just like
no,
spend a weekend.
they're not long. If you're not going for 100% completion, it's not
Mhm.
long.
Yeah, this was a tough category some years because it's always kind of those like feels type games, and I feel like me personally, I usually avoid those because it's like if I'm not in the right headspace for a game that has like a really good meaning or story, it's gonna go over my head, and I'm gonna be like, whatever. Which is a small part of the reason I haven't played Celeste is because I kept hearing how it has such a good meaning, like such a good story. You really gotta play it, and I was just like, I'm just never in the mindset for a game that's gonna depress me. Like
Uh,
that's not the mindset I'm going into when I play video games. I need something either mindless like Fortnite or something where it's fun or like cool, you know. So looks like Neva's gonna take it from
yeah,
chat, but I'm gonna skip this vote for me personally just because
I
I
will
haven't played
play
any of them.
Neva at some point. I will play Neva at some
You're
point.
gonna have
I
to. You're
also
gonna have to
want
play it on chat after it fucking wins apparently half of these categories.
right.
All right, let's go to the next
I'll
category,
probably
which
play it.
is
I'll probably play it before the awards ceremony, though.
innovation and accessibility. Call of Duty Black
So
Ops
this
6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age the Veilguard. I'm surprised to see that here. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. What the fuck is this category? Recognizing software and/or hardware that is pushing the medium forward, adding features, tech, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by a wider audience.
So that just usually means is like the accessibility of the game will kind of encompass a lot of players.
That's what I thought, but like when I'm reading this category, I'm like, how did any of these games
So
improve accessibility?
let's just do I think like Diablo 4 for a good example. Sometimes most times when it comes to like games like these, usually it's like either less button counts or like kind of like a assist button that will do something for you, stuff like that. Basically make it so that the game is easily accessible to someone who doesn't have like the strong hand-eye coordination, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
I
That just
guess.
that's just an example of a game.
But
A good example of like accessibility is similar to like Celeste when
mhm.
Erica was playing it. It's not you have the option to do all these assists if you want to. It's not it won't like it won't derive you from the gameplay if you don't want to do it. But
Yeah.
the options are there. Basically, what it is for
And
all
that's what
these
I'm
games
kind
here.
of that's what I'm saying. Like I understand the definitions. It's just for these games specifically. Like normally when
You
this
don't know
category
how.
comes out, yeah, normally when this category comes out, there's like one or two games in the category. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of how they were tackling the accessibility options for this. And all five of these, I have never heard of any of them being like, oh, they are doing this, which is making it more accessible, or they're doing this to make it
Hmm.
easier for people with certain disabilities and stuff. Like none of these. I've heard of
I
none of these.
think a good one would be like Prince of Persia because that's a platformy kind of game.
Mhm.
So that might have been like something that they have done to make it easy accessible. But apparently, chat has picked Diablo 4.
Yeah, chat picked Diablo. I have
I
no idea why, but I think
It's
I think people
Diablo.
are
It's
yeah, I think people
Diablo.
are going by namesake, which is fine. I mean, this is why Nerd Crew votes in a group setting.
I'm skipping.
Yeah, me personally,
I'm
I'm gonna have to
skipping.
skip because I haven't played any of these.
Hmm.
So next up, we're going to best performance. Okay,
Oh, these are
I
females minus one.
I hate when they do this. They put what game they're in, but they don't put what they
The
fucking played in.
character.
Yeah.
I'm skipping
Do
this one
do
to
me a
be
favor.
fair.
Do me a favor, Warlock. While I'm reading
Yeah,
these,
sure.
look them up and see what characters they play for me.
Okay, let me
All
just
right,
look
so
up
we're
the
gonna
other
go
one.
with Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hannah
She
Tell
plays
for oh
she
yeah, go
plays
one at them.
Aerith.
She plays Aerith.
She plays
Okay.
Aerith.
Hannah
Yep.
Tell, Life is Strange, Double Exposure.
Oh, Life is Strange.
And
Okay, so she plays. Okay. Life is Strange. She plays Max Caulfield, apparently.
then we got Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws. I'm just gonna assume that's the main
I
person,
think
but
she is the Ash. I think she's the main actress for I think she's the main voice for the main character. Kay Reeves. Yep, protagonist.
then Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2.
Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2 is Ransom. His name is.
And Melina Jurgens for Senua Saga, which chat is telling me is the main person
I
for Senua
believe
herself.
she's the main protagonist.
Okay, so go ahead and cast your votes, chat, because I honestly haven't played any of these games, so I can't really have a say in this one. I'm gonna have to
Yeah, so
skip again. I hate skipping so many fucking categories this year, but I gotta.
Millennia Jurgen is reclaiming her role as Senua.
So according to Bubble Mouse in chat, she wants Senua to win for sure.
Yeah,
She also
because
worked on the actual game and video editing, and she deserves it because
correct.
she's an amazing actress. So yeah, that's.
Yes.
I mean,
So
put your
w-
votes in the chat because right now she's not winning.
I'm
I
I'm
will
actually
say.
going for I'm actually going for Senua myself. Millennia
Mhm.
Melina myself.
I think
Because
a
actually
lot of people are
if
going for
you
Brianna White because they know her from the game too.
from Aerith,
Yeah, a lot of people love
yes.
Aerith. So
But like if you've seen a couple of the stuff
with a close
because
victory, Melina's gonna win the Nerd Crew vote at least.
so Melina, so if you see some of the the background, like how they produce Senua, the original
Mhm.
game, um, it is similar to Until Dawn, where they actually use the face of the character of the actress or the
Oh
actor
yeah.
who's portraying it, and use that in the game. So
Okay.
there's like a lot of that kind of like camera work.
I
So
see. I see.
she did all the and because of how Senua is story wise, she basically played the role perfectly.
I see. Okay. Well, she's
I
getting
can't
our
get into
vote,
much
so
detail.
thanks for
Yeah, I
everyone
can't
in
get into
chat
much
for
detail
voting for
about
that one.
Senua specifically and her storyline, but if you play it, you'll see why Bubble Mouse is uh is singing her praises.
Next up is Best Audio Design. This one we've got Astrobot, Call of Duty
Ooh.
Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and then Silent Hill 2. Now, I will say to preface, again, I haven't played any of these games, but I know when it
Astrobot
comes
is
to audio
cute.
design, I think the horror games really should take this because they really set the stage for like bringing the atmosphere with being a horror game. And just from the basic
Right.
minor things I've heard of, I think Senua Saga deserves it, but I think Silent Hill and
Silent
Final
Hill
Fantasy
2.
are gonna give it a run for its money, personally.
Right, because Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy. That's gonna be a big thing about it.
And
I
and Final Fantasy
personally
is also
like,
known for their
yeah,
audio. That's like a
it.
very big
Oh
name
yeah,
too.
they are big in their audio. I liked Astrobot's kind of cutesy, like like synthwave style
Is that what it was?
music.
Synthwave?
It's a lot of synthwave. It's a lot of
Mm,
like they also have like they have done like version of like some of the IPs for some of the people you see.
hmm
So they've done all that too. So I personally like Team Asobi's like kind of thought process as to keeping the keeping the music like nostalgic while also adding a spin.
mm. Well, looks
But
like
Senua is
poll is
I
in the
think
chat,
Senua is
so go
good.
ahead and vote. Once again, I think Senua is super good. Once again, they record it where you have to listen to the directions of the voices in your headphones to determine where you're getting attacked from, and the volume gives you real anxiety.
Right.
And this is kind of what I was saying about, especially for these two horror games right here, is like, I know for a fact that normally the horror games, like the good quality ones, are where the best audio design usually is held because they do stuff like this, where it's like, you've really got to pay attention to your surroundings. They're really trying to scare you, and because they can't jump scare you only, they need to make sure there's an element of audio in there, because they can't put real danger on you, unlike when you're in real
Mm-hmm.
person, like going through like a haunted house where it's like a person is in front of you. This is just a game. So a lot of times they make up for that by making the game creepy. The atmosphere is super creepy with the sound. So looks like Hellblade 2 is definitely going to win it for our chat. I'm going to skip again because I haven't played any of these fucking games. So
I
what's
play
your
any of
vote
these
going to be?
fucking games. I would go for Senua actually.
You're going to go for Senua? All
If
right.
it's Senua, if Senua Hellblade 2 is similar to what Senua 1 is, they kind of perfected the kind of what's the surround sound play.
I will say too, I remember when this game was coming out and they were like marketing it, they said that the audio was like they were trying to perfect it from the first one to the second one, because they're like, this is the atmosphere we're going for, and they're using all
Mm-hmm.
these new techniques. I just remember one of the trailers, they were like, yeah, we have to delay the game, but we're perfecting things. Like, for example, the audio, we're taking it to the next level. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like a big part of it. I
All
got
right.
I gotta fix my chat so I can make it smaller at some point. The words.
We will figure it out later.
But yeah, next up we're gonna go to best score and music. Okay, so this one again, this is where
This
I
is where
think
I think this is where her Silent Hill 2 would take it. Astrobot is cute. Don't get me wrong.
from what I've
Um,
heard, Metaphor might have a big horse in this race, because just
I
like
think
just like the
so.
the what is it called? The Persona series, like they're known for their audio, so or for their music
Yeah.
specifically.
Well, yeah. Studio Zero always has their Studio Zero always has their like soundtracks.
Yeah, so what we got here is Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Refantasio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. And once again, I have not played any of these fucking games, but
You
I
need
have
to
heard
play
just from
some of
the
these
trailers and
fucking
commercials and
games.
some gameplay from people that I've watched, I do think that
I think
Final
Silent Hill
Fantasy
2 or
has
Metaphor, to be fair.
a really good score. So
I think between Final Fantasy and Metaphor because they're kind of in the same like vein. But I'm gonna go
sorry,
for
I'm
Metaphor.
laughing at Galaxies like dies to 1d4 music.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah, I will say music and scoring, that's a tough category this year specifically, because I know what little I know about these games, I do know that they all have really good music, really good scores. Like, I've heard good things about
Mm-hmm.
Stellar Blade's music, Metaphor, Final Fantasy, of course, and Astrobot. Silent Hill, of course, I haven't really heard much. I'm just assuming again that it's got that creepy aesthetic going. So, but yeah,
More or
this is gonna be
less.
another one I'm gonna have to skip.
Oh
Just
no.
haven't played these games, so I just can't vote on them. But this happens to me every year where I'm like, I played a lot of games this year, and then I go to vote in the Game Awards, and I'm like, I didn't play any new games apparently this year, because like it's always the same 10 fucking games and through all these categories, and I haven't apparently played them besides Helldivers, which has been um, a constant throughout this. It's been constantly saving me so that I can at least vote in something. Final Fantasy VII looks like it's going to take it from our chat. Once again, my personal vote is going to be a skip. Keep in mind, by the way, chat, I'm pretty sure I know Crunchyroll Awards you could do it. I'm pretty sure that Video Game Awards is the same where you can vote multiple times.
Yeah, you can.
So if you ever want to vote again and again, you have until I think December 11th to keep voting. We are going to move on though, because we are taking a long time on
Right.
some of these categories because we're letting you guys pull in, but we want to get to the end. We're close though. Next is best art
I
direction.
think we're about close.
Yeah, we're almost. We only got like 5 or 6 more to go, honestly. Best art direction. We've got Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring
Mm-hmm.
Shadow of the Ur Tree,
Yeah.
Metaphor, and Neva. And I gotta say, this is a hard category because all of these have
Yeah.
really good art in them.
Yeah, they're all different in every sort of way. I kind of like all of them. Astrobot has a really cute. Astrobot's like one of those. You have like a base character that you run with, right? But then there's also all the other IPs and stuff that you have to like put into the same style
Hmm.
as Astrobot. So
Poll is in
that
the chat.
they bubbles in the chat. So I Astrobot has its good perks on that one where they basically ran with all these IPs had to be conformed to this one style. So and they
Ah,
were all like very different styles as well of graphics. So they had to compress everything to like kind of their like base form, which is kind of cute.
thanks for the
Wukong,
hydration, Galaxy Prime. I appreciate it.
oh thank you. Wukong
What I like
actually
about
I
this
like.
year is that
Yeah,
like most, I feel like the last couple of years it's always been a lot of the more gothic style, like types of
yeah,
games for the art style. I like that this is
urge.
all encompassing. You've got a couple dark, a couple very bright. You've got one like very beautiful, more like an older school kind of art style with Neva. So that's
Yeah.
one thing I am appreciating about this category this year. Looks like Wukong is gonna take it, which honestly surprised me a little bit. I think personally Elden Ring is gonna take it this category. Uh, in the end,
Wukong has this because it's running on a Chinese like the Chinese style, well the Chinese lore, there's a lot you can pull in
yeah.
from that.
I've seen a lot of
Yeah,
cool stuff out of Wukong, I will say, for art direction. I just think
right.
that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Elden
people
Ring
gotta
has
say
the
about
best art."
Erdtree,
So
yeah, yeah.
I do think that's going to end up taking it in the
Man,
end.
man, man, man,
But
man.
you never know. Wukong could make an upset. Astrobot could come out of nowhere because, like you said, it's a very pretty game. It's very
Oh
well
yeah,
done, very
most
pretty game.
definitely.
So it's just nice to see Astrobot getting the amount of love that it's getting in this award show. I was afraid it was going to
It
get
has a lot of
overshadowed.
yeah, it definitely has one of those like, oh, it has cute nostalgia.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to a person who has played a lot of PS4 like PS games in general, it's actually kind of nice to see some of the stuff in there. Anyway, best narrative
Next up is best narrative. We got again Final Fantasy VII. This is in like every fucking category. Final
because it's
Fantasy VII Rebirth. We got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, which I'm surprised Metaphor is getting as much love as it's getting. Hellblade
it's
2 and Silent Hill 2, which again I'm also surprised is getting a lot of love in the categories.
it's because it's Silent Hill 2. Same thing with Final Fantasy, to be fair. But I'm like, FF7 can step off.
Yeah, spam those new emotes for us. Tell Final Fantasy VII what you really think of
Yeah.
it. Poll is up in
Um,
the chat. This is
I
a skip
think
for me.
because
Again, I haven't
I
played any of
think
them.
because I think because Final Fantasy VII's Silent Hill 2 has its like roots in like is the game had that you know the story for
Mhm.
Silent Hill 2 and Final Fantasy. If it was me, I would probably pick Senua or
Mhm.
Metaphor
Well,
because those are
Bubble
new
Mouse
to me.
has a good point too. I mean, technically, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is. I don't even know if you can consider that a remake anymore because the first one was definitely a remake. This one is a continuation of apparently a whole nother storyline. But Silent Hill 2 is a remake.
Right.
That's a fucking remake, and that's been in like almost every category. So once again, the Game Awards
Right.
coming out before they announced the nominees and saying, "Hey, expect remakes, remasters, and DLCs to be here." This is why,
Right.
because they put fucking Silent Hill in like every goddamn category. So
Right. But I'm just saying is that like people already know the story of Silent Hill 2. The only thing that's different is just the graphics and maybe some mechanics, but that's
yeah.
it.
Well, it looks like Senua's
And peop
Saga Hellblade 2 is going to take it from chat. So there you go. Make sure you're
There we go.
voting heavy in chat because I'm not seeing a lot of votes out there. So make sure you're doing it.
Right.
But lock in those votes before
Ooh.
someone like snipe votes.
What would you do personally? You can't do anything because you skip in.
I gotta skip it again, man. I haven't played any of these fucking games.
I feel like you would like Metaphor and then Senua. Those two games I will probably recommend for you
Yeah,
specifically.
I do. Out of these
That's
games,
a
I want to play all of them but Silent Hill. Honestly, Silent Hill's the only one I don't really
oh,
give a shit
but
about.
seven.
I've heard good things about it, and I've seen the movie, but I just don't really give that big of a shit about it. I'd rather play Final Fantasy if I had 600
Fair.
hours to play it.
That's
I'd rather play
fair.
Like a Dragon if I had another 600 hours to play it. I'd rather play Metaphor if I had another
That's
600 hours to
fair.
play it. At least Senua's Saga is only like a 5-hour game. I can actually handle it.
Right.
Don't at me, Bubble Mouse. How dare you?
Oh. Oh, he'll add you all the time.
Next up is Best Game Direction. This is another 6 category, and unfortunately, they don't give us 6. So we'll
The
probably
only
put
one I wouldn't probably.
Metaphor as number 6. So just put
Just
the
do
number
Metaphor as a
6
chat.
in chat if you want to vote for Metaphor. But we got Game
Yeah.
Direction, Best Game Direction, which this is a kind of confusing category in my opinion. I think they should just get rid of it.
I think game direction and then the narrative is probably like one of the big ones. I think
They're
out of those
very, yeah,
three.
narrative I can understand at least, but like think about it this way: you're voting for best game direction, and Balattra's in there. What kind of game direction does a game like that have? You know, like it's a little confusing. So
Yeah.
poll is up in chat. Go ahead and vote on it. Again, if you want to vote for Metaphor, just put number 6 in the chat, and we'll
Yeah.
count.
Just put six in chat. I think for best game direction, I either think Metaphor or honestly Elden Ring.
Elden Ring,
Uh,
yeah. I don't even know, man. I feel like I have no say in this at all. Like I haven't played the games. I don't really know where the games take you. So I'm just gonna I guess game direction probably gonna be Final Fantasy VII. I think is gonna win it just because of the fact that it took a game and went a completely different route. Like they had to change the
right.
entire game, and whatever they're doing for the end of this trilogy is gonna be probably insane at this point. So,
Right.
and when it comes out, maybe I'll have a PS5 by then, and I can actually play all 3 of the Final Fantasy VII
We shall
remakes.
see. We shall see.
Best game
But I
direction is
think
Fallout 76. Why would you say that, Bubble Mouse?
Bubble Mouse, seriously.
Just out of curiosity. Looks like Astra's gonna take it from our chat. It's another skip for me, dog.
Unfortunate.
I think that's now we're coming to Game of the Year.
I think so.
Game of the Year. We've got Astro, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII, and Metaphor. Literally what we just voted on for best game direction.
This
It's
is why I think best game of the year and best game direction just be the game of the year.
it
Just to
is
be fair.
it should not this should not be like this. This should not be the same thing. That is I'm gonna honestly call some bullshit on this.
I
Why
agree.
is Game of the Year the same exact as another category? And why
Right.
are there no indie games in this besides Balatro?
Balatro.
Like I don't know, man. Balatro, Wukong. I don't know. This is kind of a this is the fucking Mike Tyson fight all over again. The ending is a letdown.
Mm,
And Metaphor.
meh.
Oh, yeah, I don't have Metaphor. I'll put a 2-minute vote up this time just because it's the game of the year. But yeah, this is a little annoying that it's the same. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't played a single one of these fucking games for game of the year. Usually every
I
year I've played at least one game for game of the year, and this is like the first time where
if
it's
I
like, yeah, I
had
haven't played
to
any of them.
if I had to make a prediction, it's either going to be Elden Ring or Astrobot. Because I think those two specifically has been sung very highly.
I think people are gonna
Um
rebel against Elden Ring because it's a DLC, and they're gonna be like, no, I'm not
yeah.
voting for that. So I think it's actually gonna come down to
So
Final Fantasy versus Astrobot.
I'm voting for Astrobot because it's very cute. But I will say for for things like DLCs and remakes are the only two ones here that I don't think should be in here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they had to preface it because they knew
Because
people were gonna be upset about it.
Yeah, so DLCs and remakes specifically, I do not understand why they need to be in here.
I can get a
Reason.
remake, by the way. A remaster, no. But a remake, if you're remaking a whole last game and it's
But
completely
here's
different,
the
I could
here's the
see that
question
being
though.
fine as a game of the year.
Yeah, but here's the question though is like how far is a remake without being a remaster?
Remasters are
Because
just usually
I
updated stuff.
feel
A
like
remake is actually really recreating aspects of the game. Like Final Fantasy VII, the first one, that is a remake. But like I think it's, what was that game called? Metroid Prime Remaster, when that came out, people
right,
argued it was a remake because they really remade all from the ground up. They remade the graphics,
right.
but that's all they
Yeah.
did. It wasn't a remake in terms of changing gameplay mechanics. It was just, here's the game, but we made it look a hell of a lot better and play smoother.
That
Whereas
would be the
like
same thing with Silent Hill 2 though, would it though?
I think they changed some gameplay elements in Silent Hill 2. I don't think it's just a
Yeah,
pure.
but how much of the gameplay was different between Silent Hill 2 its original context and then this Silent
I haven't
Hill?
played the
Which is a
games.
question.
You're
Yeah, I
gonna have,
can't really tell you if I
you're
haven't
gonna
played
have
the
to ask
game.
someone who's played the original and then played the remake.
I can definitely ask a couple people, but that's my question though. Is like, if it's like a, how far is a remake without it being a remaster? If it's just like a few mechanics here or there just being changed and then graphics being updated, then that doesn't really make sense to me because
Mhm.
everybody knows how the game will end and how the game will like progress.
Yeah, I mean
As
for
opposed to even
remasters.
with the remasters too, it's just the same thing. It's just the same plot and storyline,
Mhm.
but add like two or three things here or there.
That's really my difference between them.
Why I
Remasters
think in like
really is just
remasters, it
almost
would
like
be
an
like
update.
I want to say like what I would consider as a remaster would be like Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG. That is a remaster to me.
That's a remake
Or
to me.
yeah,
They changed the
that's a,
game. They
either
changed the gameplay mechanics heavily in that game to make it easier, as well as doing damage to every character. They updated the
yeah.
graphics. They from the ground up. The story is still the same. You are correct in that, but they've
Yeah.
changed enough that that would be a remake.
Yeah, so there's this fine line between remakes and remasters that
Hmm.
I don't think that there is some differences. There is some differences, sure, but how much of that would make it so that it either elevates the gameplay or makes it better than the gameplay? That's why I find like remakes and remasters a little bit iffy.
Hmm.
Remakes and remasters specifically is what I'm iffy about being in these categories because there's so much far you can push in either way in this envelope. Meaning, like you can go like, oh, it's just an old game, just in a new port,
Yeah,
same shit, different console.
yeah,
Or it's like, no,
yeah. For me, it depends
it's
on
a
how much
lot
they
of
add.
different.
That's what it really
The only
depends on.
thing that I will say that should not ever be here at all is DLC because DLCs can vary widely between the games, whether it be free or paid
Hmm.
DLCs. But does it give like it doesn't give a different experience. The same experience, but just different content.
It depends because you could argue that some sequels are like that. Like if you go as far back as
Sequels are
for.
diff the sequels are different though than
Not
DLC.
really. If you go as far back as Left 4 Dead 2 literally is the exact same game. It should have been a DLC for Left 4 Dead 1
Right.
and it wasn't. So that technically is a new game they could have made a thing for. I mean, you can go as early as, I'm trying to think of other DLCs they've done.
You could go with a Sly series to be like Ratchet Clanks,
Yeah,
Slies,
like they are this
Mario,
they are pretty much the
Mario was
same
a big one.
games, sometimes different stories though. But like Left 4 Dead is like the biggest example I can think of off the top of my head where it's like they could have made this just a DLC, but they chose to make it a whole nother game when they didn't have to, you know?
Right.
And so, like, that would be like, for example, if Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree was a whole new game for $40
Mhm.
and not a DLC, does that mean that it's okay now to be in this category? That's why I think DLCs are a little tricky. I still think remasters have no place in Game of the Year, but
Right.
remakes I can get behind, and definitely DLCs if they're big enough and if they're good enough, then I think the
Right.
DLC is fine. Because like for example, the DLCs for like Ghost of Tsushima, I would never put
Right.
them in Game of the Year categories because it was literally just little tiny DLCs. It wasn't anything huge. They did add another island to go to and new missions and story, but it wasn't like if they'd released that as its own game for like $30, I wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
put it in Game of the Year. If they released Elgin Tree
Right.
for itself for $40, then it could have been, it was a good enough game where people have been like, yeah, this is still my Game of the Year. As opposed to like
Right.
some DLCs where it's just a little added story and it's like, yeah, it was a good DLC, it was a good game, but it's not Game of the Year status. For this one though, it looks like chat's picking Astrobot. Personally,
Yeah.
once again, I can't vote. And I honestly, looking at my votes cast, which you can see in this top corner, Nerd Crew skipped one vote. I skipped a lot. I only voted
I skipped
17
top
out of
four.
29. Dude, like I
I skipped top four.
basically these 6 games you're seeing in front of you, plus like 2 indie games, were basically what all of the categories were. And because I didn't play those games, I just didn't get a chance to vote in most of them for my personal voting, which is a little
Right.
annoying. I'm not gonna lie. That I feel like I play a lot of games, especially this year where I was doing a lot more Xbox Game Pass roulettes, and it
Mm-hmm.
still didn't give me the opportunity to play some of these. You know what I mean? Like, and if you look at them, like
Mm-hmm.
Astro is locked to the PS5,
Right.
Balatro is on everything, Black Myth Wukong is a PlayStation, Elden Ring
Elden
I'm pretty
Ring.
sure is also PlayStation.
No, it's actually all consoles.
Is Elden Ring on Xbox?
Yes, should be.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is locked to PlayStation, and Metaphor I
Elden
think is on everything.
Ring. Yeah.
So it's like
Elden Ring's
half.
on. So PS. So from left to right, Astrobot's on PS5. Balatron's on
Yep.
all consoles.
Yep.
Wukong is on PS5. Elden Ring's on all consoles. Final Fantasy is probably Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy Rebirth is on console.
I think it's PS5 only, but it's coming to
PS
other consoles.
PS5 only. And the
Yeah.
Metaphor of Phantasmo I think is Sony only.
I don't think so. I think Metaphor's on
Nope,
multiple.
it's nope. Metaphor is all consoles minus the
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah, Metaphor's on everything except for the Switch. It'll be on Switch too, I'm sure. But like, yeah, so
Yeah,
like
so
half of these games are locked to the PlayStation. So if you just don't have a PS5, apparently you can't play
PS1,
good games. That's what the
PS1,
voting has shown me.
you need basically personal vote equals correct. Um, I think P's like these Sony exclusive games are kind of the reasons why I haven't really seen a lot of these games because I think a lot of them are like kind of like console locked,
Yeah,
soft locked by
for sure.
consoles, which is
For sure.
I'm
And I
not
mean,
particularly mad about, but
and funny
at the
enough,
same
like I
time, it's like I
really
want to play Astrobot.
yeah, I mean, funny enough, I don't really want a PS5 that badly. I just want it for Ghost
Yeah,
of
that's like
Yotei. But there are
yeah,
other games that are locked to the PlayStation right now where I'm like, it would be nice to try these games out, but unfortunately they're,
like Black Myth
PlayStation.
Wukong, for example. I want to
Yeah,
play Astrobot, for example. I would probably play Metaphor Free Fantasio if I wanted to.
some of these
Like
are
all
coming out
games
for a
are
PC, by the way, but like,
yeah. I like is the fine line on the fence between upgrade my PC or getting a PS5. What I probably will do is upgrade my PC because that take priority over anything else.
mhm. Yeah,
But
my
I'm just saying
PC
is
can
that
handle
there's
these,
a
but I don't know which one of these are on. I think,
Black Myth Wukong. I think is on all most consoles.
yeah, no, Black Myth is not on Xbox. I think it's coming to Xbox, but it's not on there yet.
It's current. No, it is coming. It is on. It is on the. Uh, it is on Steam. It is on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam, but not on Xbox.
It's just supposed to be on Xbox Series X and S, GeForce Now, and Microsoft Windows. Yep, it's came
Uh,
in.
I think it came in later. I don't remember it releasing for it day one.
Xbox is TBA. So
Oh,
PlayStation is
there you go.
out for PlayStation 5 and Windows, but Xbox is TBA.
Yeah, it's coming out, I think, next year, if I remember correctly.
I
But
believe so.
there it is, chat. That is Nerd Crew's voting for the Video Game Awards. We will maybe do a watch party when the awards actually come out. We did last year, and it was okay. I feel
We
like
might,
I feel like
well,
we'd
we
have to
might,
work on the setup if we're gonna do that this year. But
right. Well, I think we might want to try and do as well is see if we can try to collab with some people that would also be watching the Game Awards as well, just as a fun side effect.
yeah, we could try that. We could see who's out there who's willing
I'll
to
see.
hang out with
I'll
us.
pull out some feelers. I'll pull out some feelers.
Yeah, because we are still planning our December streaming month, and normally it's the end of the year, so we usually kind of just do This year we're planning on doing games that we liked, games we hated this year. I think one thing I was thinking about too that maybe we should do is games we missed out on that came out this year, and we can all pick one game that we're like, we kind of missed out on this game and we wanted to play a little bit more. We just didn't have time, so we'll play it on stream for
I
a
feel
day
like
or
there's a
two.
couple games that would probably do that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna look into what games came out this year. I think for me it'll probably be Unicorn Overlord if I had to play it, because once again I can't pick these games because they're on fucking PlayStation. But I think I'll probably do Unicorn Overlord if we did a stream like that where we played ones we missed out on. But or Balatro maybe, since apparently it's like one of the
I
it's in the
actually
category for
do
Game of the
want to
Year.
play Balatro. I actually
Might
do want to play Balatro.
we may just have to do a stream where all of us try Balatro together.
We'll be starting as I know we'll be starting as Fresh Slay
Yeah.
because I have not played that.
But yeah, that's it for us here on Nerd Crew. I want to thank everyone for coming by and voting with us. Remember, you can vote multiple times before December 11th. I'm pretty sure that's when the end of this is. So go ahead and keep voting. Like nothing's gonna stop you. Just December 12th is when the winners come
December
out.
12th.
So I think the
December 12th.
11th is the
Yep.
final day you can vote. But yeah, you can go ahead and keep
Right.
voting as many times as you want. For those of you who came in later, you can go ahead and check out. These are the categories here on screen. As you can see, best VR and AR is the only one we skipped. But just to go over our nominees real quick, best esports team, we picked. It's not telling me their name. We picked Team
Liquid.
Liquid,
Yep.
and
You just go previous. Just go keep on going previous.
yeah,
That way fair.
best esports we picked Faker. Best esports game we picked League of Legends. Content creator of the year we picked the Rabbit girl. What was her name? Usada
Usagi.
Pecora, who I'm gonna have to figure out her content. Most anticipated game of the year,
She's
we
mostly on
picked
Twitch right now.
Monster Hunter Wilds. Best
Mm-hmm.
adaptation, we did
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
Multiplayer, we did Helldivers 2. Sports and racing, we did WWE 2K24. Best sim strategy, we did vote for Overlord, Unicorn Overlord. Best family was Super Mario Party, Jamboree. Best fighting is DBZ, Striking Zero. Best RPG went to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Best action
Mm-hmm.
adventure went to Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. Best action game went to Helldivers 2. Best VR we skipped. Best mobile game went to Pokemon TCG. Best debut indie game went to Balatro. Best indie game went to
Mm-hmm.
Neva. Best community went to Helldivers. Ongoing Helldivers. Games for Impact was Neva. Innovation was Diablo. Performance went
Mm-hmm.
to Melina Jurgens for Senua. Audio design went to Senua. Score and music went to Final Fantasy. Art direction for Wukong, and our narrator was Senua Saga. And our game of the year and game
Astrobat.
direction were both Astrobots.
Astrobat. Astrobat.
So thanks again for joining us. I'm gonna be signing off. Thanks for joining me over on Discord, Silent Warlock.
Oh, no problem.
I
Always a pleasure.
appreciate you popping in. You can come back tomorrow. Jesse should be live with more of his punishment stream. I think his plan is to stream tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, if I remember correctly. But he should be playing Zenless Zone Zero, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait for him to play that fucking game, dude. He's going to love it.
You should probably play it as well, just for the funsies.
He's going to be a hater and say he's not going to love it, but he's going to play that game and he's going to be like, the action in this game is actually sick, and I love it.
Have you actually played Zen? How do you play Triple Z?
No, I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of gameplay of it from people trying it
They
out and
really
from
can say.
people I follow who have sponsorships from it and shit. So
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a bunch of gameplay. It's a free to play game, right?
It is free to play
Maybe
to
I
an
will.
extent.
Maybe I will download it and play it with him tomorrow. But
I might just check it out for a
yeah,
second.
I know it's got a pretty decent tutorial though. I will say, I think it's got a solid like probably 25-minute tutorial on that shit.
Oh,
But
thank God, the 25-minute tutorial.
but come on by tomorrow to catch more of Locke's punishment stream from losing the Pokemon Nuzlocke last month. And then next week, the final week in November, will be Erica's wrap up for the punishment streams,
Mm.
in which she is playing. I can't remember. Oh, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So look forward to that.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
But until then, we'll catch you guys later.
Goodbye.